Orange Lounge Radio. With your hosts, Dark Sakura, Sky, and Loki.
Not content with the masses of viewers controlling Red's destiny, one streamer wagered his fish was capable of beating Pokemon as well. And for you non-adventure fans, you can watch two fish playing Street Fighter 2 instead. Stay tuned for all the updates to the non-fishy gaming news, your comments, and phone calls on the show where every gamer has a voice.
Orange Lounge Radio.
Hello, my friends out there on the internet, and welcome back to another week of the show where every gamer has a voice. It is Orange Lounge Radio live with this episode number 565 for August 24th, 2014. My name is Rob Roberts, here with you over the next few hours to talk about video games, gaming culture, and the gamer lifestyle. With my co-hosts here in studio, say hello to Dark Sakura or Jamie Summers.
Sup, bitches?
And how are you, Dark Sakura?
I'm, sedate.
Sedate? I guess.
Oddly sedate.
But that doesn't mean you're, like, actually asleep. You're just...
No, it means that I've spent my last month like a sprung coil, and the coil has sprung.
Right.
And now it's sort of in its relaxed state.
I see. So it's like you've been winding up anticipation, and now relax, right?
Hopefully not descending toward entropy like Shane.
All right. Yeah.
I think I agree with Shane, though. I think that we need naps.
I know. This is the OLR Siesta show
Yes.
tonight. We'll see. All right. Well, not joining us tonight, Techmaster Loki is not here tonight. I got to be honest. I'm not exactly sure why he's not here. I just got a tweet from him saying he wouldn't be coming. I think that means family-related things that he probably forgot about. So we wish Loki well wherever he's at. But he should be back in 2 weeks when we are live again. As a reminder, we're not going to be live next week over the Labor Day holiday. I'll remind people what's going on in just a moment. But filling in for Loki tonight, say hello to Shane is joining us.
Hello.
Hey, Shane. Are you okay?
I'm so tired.
You're tired?
Yes. It's almost my bedtime.
Do you want coffee?
No, that's disgusting.
You can't do the show completely
promised-
trying to fall asleep. I thought you were going to be good.
I promised Shane that I would bring him cold brew coffee to see if he likes it better.
I'm just really tired.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going to bring it to you at work in a flask so that you'll get asked by HR why you have a flask at your desk.
All right. Well, I need you to pep up, Shane. You got to.
This is me at like a 10.
Okay. No. I know how to turn Shane up to a 10. This is what I'm going to do. I am the nicest guy, bestest pal in the whole wide world. So before we get to video game chat, and there's a lot of game chat to get to tonight, to help Shane pep up tonight, I'm going to give Shane 60 seconds to say anything he wants about Power Rangers. All right? Ready?
Can I start now?
Go.
They have Power Morphicon this weekend, and it looks so good. And they announced a new cast of Dino Charge, and the Black Ranger's really hot. There, that's really all I have to say.
Wow. Okay. You did that
Hey,
it
But it didn't really wake me up.
Shane,
That was supposed to get you excited.
when we both have the same day off, do you want to marathon Mega Ranger with me?
Yeah, I could watch that. I haven't seen that one yet.
Because the Japanese one was the best.
You should watch Gokaiger. That's really good, too.
I also have the Mega Ranger versus Car Ranger movie on Laserdisc.
Car Ranger.
Shane, you're going to have to speak up or something.
Why? They can't even hear me?
Well, just because you're so tired.
That's how I normally sound anyway.
Much better.
But
Rob, we're going to do it over here, too, so that when you come home, you'll be greeted by lots of Sendai.
Oh, is that what you're going to do while I'm out of town in
No,
Atlanta?
it's what I'm going to do when Shane and I have the same days off again. Or when I have the same days off as Shane because my schedule's changing.
Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com because we do tape live every Sunday night at the Voice of Geeks Network, vognetwork.com, immediately after the Bobby Blackwolf show. And we have some people indulging Shane in Power Rangers chat.
let's talk about Power Rangers. That will wake me up.
Captain Spike from GameBuoy.org. We love GameBuoy.org. Captain Spike says, I don't agree, Black Ranger, whatever. But he did give a nice hearty yes to
the Black Ranger is so hot, and he's from New Zealand, so he's got a really good accent.
Let's see.
And I may have watched an episode of Legend of the Seeker last night because he was on it.
Tiger Claw asks, where was Shane when the earthquake hit? It wasn't big enough to wake Rob. Yeah, there was a big earthquake in NorCal.
I didn't know about it until I saw
found
the
out
news.
from my mother.
It was
in Alabama.
We appreciate you guys being concerned because I did get a few tweets about it. We appreciate the concern, but it was in Napa, which is a good 100 miles to the northwest.
It should have been closer.
My mom's
no,
I love
Should not have been.
earthquakes.
It happened in San Francisco. Call your friends. Make sure they're alive. Are you okay? Did you feel it's like, Mom, I went to bed at 4 a.m. after playing Final Fantasy all day. I didn't feel anything. I didn't know anything. And between you and the cat, I'm never going to sleep again. I love my mom, though.
Bobby Blackwolf says, when is Shane not really tired other than Pokemon launch day?
I'm super tired on Pokemon launch day because I'm usually up all night to get Pokemon at midnight.
He's up all night to get Pokey.
He's up all night to get Pokey.
That
actually sounds really dirty.
Why do you think I said
God,
it?
somebody's going to crop that and do something horrible with it.
I'm very sad, though, because the next Power Morphicon is in 2016, I think they said.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to double check. That's 2 years.
I'm sorry.
I will go because they're going to talk about the movie, and I bet Dino Charge Black will be there, and I'm going to have to drug him and take him to a hotel room.
Misty in chat says, Shane, dude, one of my friends is going to cosplay a ranger from the Train theme series at Wizard Chicago.
Tokuger's the best.
I must link you to pics when I have them.
Love Tokuger.
You know, I did like Magi Ranger.
I didn't watch that one.
That one was okay.
And then let's see. Lastly, we'll say Act Deft says, Shane needs to be angry to sound more eager.
That's true.
What makes you angry right now?
Being kept awake.
Yeah, being kept awake.
Oh, good. This should be an entertaining 3 hours. All right. Well, we'll try to get into it. We're going to get into the show tonight.
Sliding off of the chair.
Well, sit up because we got gaming news to discuss. So I want to start off with tonight's kickoff topic. So where to begin with this? So it's no secret, guys. It's been a really weird, crazy drama, like sands through the hourglass. This is the games of our lives type of week in the gaming world. And here's the thing. I kind of think the gaming industry is so much bigger than the perception that some of us hardcore fans have of it. To kind of put this into perspective, Diablo 3, the Ultimate Evil Edition, came out on PlayStation 4 this week, and I was so busy playing it all night, I think Wednesday or Thursday, one night this week, that apparently a bunch of drama broke out. I missed all of it because I was playing games. And I'm kind of thankful in that regard. And some of you guys might be sitting there going, drama? What drama? There's drama going on? I don't want to. And honestly, if that's you, trust me, ignorance is bliss. Ain't nobody got time for that when it comes to a lot of this other stuff that's going on. Like, I can't. I'm unable to. I can't odd either. It's, oh my gosh. So, one good thing that came out of a lot of this stuff that's going on is there was a really cool little hashtag that was on Twitter. And the next day on Twitter, I saw this floating around. It was hashtag We Love Game Devs.
Are you sure it wasn't hashtag Zack Attack?
I think that was trending too.
Yeah, it was.
But for different. Oh, now there's a topic that gets you excited.
I will talk about Zack from Big Brother for hours.
I love this hashtag We Love Game Devs because it really got people to talk about why is it that we are so enthusiastic about games? Because there's a lot of people out there that will claim to do things because they like video games, but then I kind of look back and go, but you're hurting games with the things. Do you really? How can you do that on one hand and on the other say, oh, I'm trying to protect the game industry? It's like, from what? The game industry is so much bigger than what you see on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and all this stuff. So I don't know. I want to play games. I like games. I enjoy games, and by games, I don't fucking mean mind games. Like, I'm too old for that shit. So let's talk about video games and why we here at OLR love game devs too. Because I sent out a tweet. I thought that was a really nice little positive tweet. Because, full disclosure, it's no secret. Yes, I do this show, Orange Lounge Radio. This is a, gaming enthusiast podcast, I guess some would call it. And we've been doing this for, 12 years. But thanks to having done this show, I've had the opportunity to make friends in the industry and in all different types of. I have friends that do the journalism stuff. I have friends that make games. Heck, Shane, you used to. It's no secret. You used to do game development of sorts, right? Mm-hmm. And you did DDR with Konami for a while, right?
Yes, among other things.
which can sometimes bring an interesting dynamic into what we do here on OLR, because, I have to kind of take a step. I have to be, there's Rob the friend, and then I have to take a step back and be Rob the, amateur analyst, for, I guess, lack of a better term, and be able to talk objectively.
An alrapist.
Yeah. What did you just call me?
Oh,
Shut up.
You know what that's from, right?
Yeah, shut up. So, I have to be able to take a step back and kind of look at like all this stuff, objectively. So, but I know there's so many people out there that really love games and making games and doing this. And I think there's a lot of positive stuff that goes on in the industry too. So I just want to talk about like why do you guys love video games? So Jamie, why do you love video games? Why do you do this show we've been doing this for 12 years. Why do you do this show every week for 12 years? What is it about video games that you love?
The shipping.
It's the Garrus Cross Shepherd is what's been keeping you here.
No. I really do like the bigger fandom communities that have built up around games now, because we used to not really have much of that when, all I was doing was screaming at playing that god-awful, super difficult Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on the Nintendo in the fucking water level where you get electrocuted. No, back then it was spite. Back then I loved games because I was a spiteful little human being. And I told the games I would defeat them. And lo and behold, one day I beat the Guardian Legend. It was also... This is going to sound really stupid and neo-radfem in a way I don't want it to. But I really did get a big kick out of being a girl in the late 80s and early 90s that played video games when not many other girls were really that into it at the time, or at least weren't supposed to be into it, quotey fingers. I felt like for me it was something different that I didn't have to share with anybody else, and it was a behavior that wasn't expected of me. So it was sort of like a combination of a really good escape and a minor form of rebellion.
Interesting. That's a very very neat thing that you say there too, because I think I felt some similarities in, like, you talk about the expectations, like, not that I'm going to claim to know exactly, but I feel like there are some similarities with me having been a gay guy, that there's certain expectations about, oh, I should be listening to Madonna and, be into fashion, and I'm not really that kind of guy. Well, Madonna's okay, I guess, but you know what I mean? It's like, but I'm not like, if you saw like where I live, I don't live in a well-decorated house. You know what I mean? Like I'm a nerd at heart.
You do have a lot of IKEA furniture.
I do, but IKEA
which is a hallmark of the gay.
IKEA is Lego for adults. Anyway.
No, but that was part of it, and then I just kept sticking with the stuff that I loved, and came through all the various games, and then I eventually made my transition to PC gaming.
Right.
And then after that, what kept me in a lot of the games was the fandoms for some of the newer games, because I could sit and play a casual game, and keep in mind, we had casual games in the 80s and 90s, but they couldn't be truly casual because they cost a bunch of money, but they're the same type of games that we're seeing as casual games now. So we had those waste of time games, and then once they became more readily available, they stopped being this big classic concept, and we started looking to games to have more substance to them. What we would call a real game now is something that's got an engaging story, or something that is going to be a point A to point Z type of story. So I think the definition of what has become a true game versus something casual has evolved with technology and with our expectations now that we've grown into the genre. So it's really a part of, I guess in the end, part of it's a social experiment too, for me.
Yeah. Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com, reading some of these, and I'll go over to Shane. Codeman says, video games put me in another world. They take me out of this fucked world we live in and put us into something that we enjoy, a fantasy. Final Fantasy XIV, for example, has given me a place to go hang out with people I love and have a good time. Dungeon Buster says, I loved games because I thought they were a different form of storytelling, and that was exciting to me. Bochikawa says, video games give me goals and rules that make sense in a world that doesn't let me make goals and rules that are taken too far. Wow, that's some powerful stuff, you guys. Shane, what do you love about video games? Why have you been into games for so long? What made you worked in the industry? What made you want to do that?
Because it's fun. Like, I don't really have some in-depth or deep like
you don't
reasoning.
have to. Just an honest answer.
They're
is fine.
fun. Because they're enjoyable. Like, there you go. There's my answer.
What was the first video game that you played? Do you remember?
Yes. Stupid Cat in the Hat mix-up game, the Dr. Seuss one on Coleco, scared the crap out of me. Hate that game.
So, okay, if the Cat in the Hat scared the crap out of you, how did you get from that to video games are fun?
Well, because there were other games that weren't just the Dr. Seuss mix-up game. Less scary ones.
What made you decide I want to get a job doing... Or what did you first do? You were doing game testing, right? And then it moved into...
No, I was hired to do DDR stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, what made you decide this is something I want to do? I want to go into this.
Because it sounds like fun. Like, if you're spending so much time already playing this stuff, why not do something more and be the one on the other side, making stuff for other people to have fun with?
Did you learn anything from that experience?
About video games?
I guess video games are the development of said video games.
It's a lot of red tape and a lot of things that people get mad about are things that you don't have any say over and you wish you could.
Do you mean like when people get really angry on Twitter about certain things going on with like particular games or in social media in general? I keep picking on Twitter, but when people get angry out there, you're saying that they'd be surprised like how little maybe people like you really have to do with things like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The people that make the decisions for the most part are the people that have no real connection to making the game.
Mm-hmm.
So keep complaining, it goes nowhere.
See, going to Alan Alchemy says, how did he get from that to talking about Cat in the Hat? How did he get from that to standing for Silent Hill?
What?
How did you get from the Cat in the Hat to your Silent Hill fandom?
There's no Dr. Seuss in Silent Hill. Like, I busted out the Coleco about 2 years ago, and it was still working after a little bit of loving. And I put in that game, and it's still scary. I don't like it. It is not fun.
There's some.
E.T. on Atari was scary too.
E.T. was kind of scary.
It was scary, and
like the original jump scare was falling in one of those fucking holes.
No, just the whole thing. Well, E.T. scared me as a kid anyway, so there's that. And then,
were you even alive when that movie came out?
Probably not. I don't think so. But yeah.
Okay. I think I've talked about this a little bit.
Oh, you want to know other thing I learned while I worked at Konami?
Of course.
That there's no way I can do 10 Jaeger bombs in 45 minutes and be okay afterwards.
Should you really be bringing that up right now?
That wasn't during work hours, but I was working there, and it was a work thing after work.
Fair enough. All right. Wait, you mean sometimes like coworkers hang out and stuff outside of work?
Sometimes.
Get out. You know what? I think that happens in industries that aren't just gaming either.
Nope, just gaming.
For me, I've talked a little bit about this on the show previously, but I was always really just amazed with being able to, and it's going to make me sound like such a control freak, and I can already hear Grandpa in the back of my head teasing me about this, but I loved on the Atari 2600 that I was in control of what was on the TV screen. And like that little moving square was me, and I was changing the images that were on the screen with that. What, you sound like you're going to say something.
No, how do I sound like I'm going to say something?
You look like you're going to say something.
No, I'm just trying not to fall off of the chair.
So I loved being able to like be that little square, and I'm thinking of adventure in particular. And it's like, I can go anywhere I want. I'm not restricted by
sorry, is this in this game? You play as a square?
Yes, in Adventure on the Atari 2600,
so dumb.
You were a little yellow square, and you would go around and you would try to find like the sword that would kill the dragon.
Was the sword also a square?
No, the sword was kind of a rectangle. Maybe a triangle a little bit.
Wow, the games you had when you were young.
You just were talking about the fucking ColecoVision. I'm
yeah,
sure the
but
Cat
you
in the Hat-
want to look up a video, it's frightening.
Venture on ColecoVision. Hello.
But anyway, I love being able to control that and really like get immersed in that world. And even though maybe I'm not creating the story, so to speak, I still feel like at the end of the day, I'm able to kind of put myself in the shoes of that character on the screen. And not that that character has to be like a carbon copy of me. I can be
unless you
anyone
were a
or
square
anything.
back then.
Unless I happen to look like a square. Now I look a little more like a pear. So I don't know what game you can play a pear in. Maybe Fruit Ninja. But
you don't play as fruit and
You can be an eggplant in Kid Icarus. Remember when you got turned into an eggplant?
Yes, I'm more of an
And then you
eggplant
just
wizard.
hold
What about
down,
that?
And you didn't have feet. You were just an eggplant.
Yes, I
There's
remember
like
that.
an RPG on Nintendo. It had like Princess Tomato in it or something. Maybe there's a pear guy in there.
Maybe. Anyway, so I love being able to really immerse myself in this alternate universe. That's what I've always really loved about games. And to see how far the technology has come is so impressive. And, you know, you remember when like Mode 7 first debuted on the Super Nintendo and we all saw like Pilot Wings and ActRaiser and things like that for the first time, and it was like, this is so real. The graphics are so realistic. Oh my gosh, it's like a cartoon on my TV. You know, and just to see things. I mean, now it's like you look at a Super Nintendo game and you're like, oh, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't that good either. And to see how far things have come just in the 25-ish years since that system is so amazing. It really makes you wonder, like, in 25 more years, like, are we going to be on the holodeck, or what is it going to be? How am I going to be transported away? I mean, we're already talking about with Oculus and so forth, virtual reality making another step. So it's just like, you know, it's gonna get closer and closer to transporting us to those worlds. Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. Bochikawa says, that was pretty profound for me too, Rob. It's like interaction. Tiger Claw says, what about Haunted House on the Atari 2600? All you played was a pair of eyeballs. That game was kind of scary too, actually. Blender says, LOL, Sky, I have Adventure on PlayStation Home. I didn't know that was a thing you could do. I didn't know the Atari games were there in PlayStation Home. That's pretty cool. I remember they had like
Too bad you have
Froggers
to play
and stuff.
PlayStation Home to do it.
How mean. PlayStation Home, well, we'll get into that a little later. We actually
You
have
look like a
story on that coming up.
pedophile in that game no matter what you make your character look like.
Stop. All right. Let's see. Bochikawa says in Final Fantasy VI, they sang. It blew my mind. Yeah. Oh, my God. You want to talk about a story? Final Fantasy VI was so flippin' amazing. So good. Anyhow, just wanted to, you know, bring it back to what it's really about, and that is the passion for gaming and, you know, what kind of motivates us to be here and what motivates you guys to listen to this podcast and subscribe to it and be with other gamers and talk about these shared experiences and so on. Please feel free to tweet us or email us if you have more to add to this. Participate at orangeloungeradio.com, or of course, we're on Twitter at twitter.com/OLR. All right, we're going to get into our gaming week, but first, I guess, well, no, we'll do housekeeping later. I'll talk about Dragon Con and all that in a minute. So let's get into our gaming weeks. So, Dark Soccer, you want to start off? How was your gaming week? What'd you play this week?
I played a bunch of stuff. I started another Shepherd on Mass Effect 3
Yay, Shepard.
because I have hair mods, and I'm using my hair mods now. That actually has a decent-looking nape bun for a FemShep. And it's the one that's on all those Ashley mods. That's really neat looking. And of course, Ashley's alive in my game because Ashley's awesome. She's badass.
Boo, racist.
What?
Ashley's a racist.
No, she's not. She's slightly xenophobic until she actually learns that other races are trustworthy.
She learned that when she blew up in my game.
She overcomes her fuck the aliens tendencies, especially since her boss is let's fuck the aliens. I got to level 50 in Final Fantasy 14 and then Quody beat the game.
Congrats.
Yay.
Did you like that 20-minute ending?
I was chatting with Becky. I was like, no, I thought we were like on the last battle. I was like, okay, Becky, we're on the last battle because she was on aim with me. And then like, wait, there's more. I was like, okay, we finally just beat, you know, whatever his name is, Gaius. And then And I was like, the fuck? What's this? So I was like, sorry, Becky, there's still more ending to do. No more fighting to do. She's like, oh my God, how long is this going on? You've been playing for 5 hours, which is true.
Yeah.
And then, so finally we get through the whole thing. It was cool with, like, we had a full party for it, marching down in our matching Magitech armor. It was really cool. Finally beat the game. Everyone's like, party's out, bye. And I'm like, ending. I was like, hey, Becky, guess what? She's like, what? I was like, the ending's still happening. No.
Yeah, the ending in Final Fantasy 14 is like a good 20 minutes. And that's even skipping the full credit sequence, which nobody's going to watch the full credit sequence because they put every 1.0 player that was subscribed.
But they let you skip past the names. You can go to like the Z's and then let it play.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I was looking for people I knew. And then like it was you have like 3 skippable credits. It's stupid. And then I was like, okay, everyone's happy. I bet there's there is some shit.
Yeah,
so.
and then there's the after credits cutscene that sets up the rest of the game.
And like this was my quote in the chat from when we fought the one red guy. Wee-hee-hee, senpai didn't notice me. Wee-hee-hee, I'm gonna throw a temper tantrum. Wee-hee, you're dead, bitch. So did that, and so now I'm doing the end game, and I spent like an hour looking for the stuff for a quest that I've already done. Because I didn't think I'd done the die quest, and I did. So I did the Japanese dance quests today, and that was it. So yeah, I'm doing that, more Final Fantasy. I Bravely Default took a rest just because I haven't been playing much games at work. But I do have, I put in my pre-order officially. I hate using the word pre-order because it's technically an order for something that's going to arrive at a later date, but it's still just an order. I ordered Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yay.
The deluxe edition.
Yay.
And then I found out today Varric is not romanceable.
Yay.
He's probably in a deep relationship with Bianca.
That's awkward because that's his bow. His crossbow.
Which he talks about her like she's his mistress. So that means I'm going to be romancing the fuck out of Vivienne. Because she's amazing looking.
I heard her voice actress just like 2 days ago. She's awesome. She's in Game of Thrones.
I'm going to romance the hell out of Vivienne. They better say
but they haven't said that she's romanceable.
I know, but she better be. Because Vivienne. I'm just mad because I don't have a Fenris.
ActDeft is in chat is suggesting instead of pre-order, use the word reservation.
I like that better. I reserved my copy by paying for it and ordering it to be delivered on the date of its release.
The voice actor for Fenris said that he did do some work for this new game. So
It better be
crossing
Fenris.
my fingers that Fenris shows up with my hawk.
SSG 100 Matt in chat says, how long does it take for someone on average to max level their character in Final Fantasy 14? That really depends on how many hours a week you're going to put into the game.
That depends on if you just sit there chatting with people.
Yeah, it really depends on your play style. I think if you're going to put like the pedal to the metal and you're going to play a good like couple hours every day, you can probably do it 6 weeks or less.
Depends on the class too.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll put it this way. By the time that we were at the end of beta, I already saw people running around in Magitech bounce, which means they beat the game.
Yeah, so it just depends on how much you're willing to put into it. But if you're doing more casual, it'll probably take you a couple months. That's okay.
Unless you're me, then it'll take you all year.
Yeah, but you went through long stretches without playing at all.
Yeah, well, I also went through long stretches of being completely pissed off at the game.
All right. Let's see. If that's it for your gaming week between Final Fantasy and all that, let's go over to Shane.
One last.
All right.
Very solitaire.
Of course. Shane, how was your gaming week?
It was fine.
What'd you play?
I played PT, and I played Diablo 3 on PS4 and Final Fantasy, and that's where I'm going to stop.
Okay.
Except that he's got Pokemon going on right now.
Well, that doesn't count. That's like, Shane, did you breathe some air today? Yeah. Did you play Pokemon? Yeah. Did you go to the bathroom? Yeah.
What did you think about Diablo 3?
It's better on consoles, I think. It's just like the way it handles better.
That's all it is for you is the handling that makes it better?
Well, also my computer's not the best, so I don't have any like frame rate issues or long loads.
Because you weren't sure if you were going to buy it at first, but then my copy finally got here late Tuesday night or whatever, so we were
30
playing...
minutes after we realized, or before we realized.
Long story. But anyway, we were playing co-op on the same screen. I didn't even realize you could do until one of my friends texted me.
Even though I said, look on the back, it says you can do it, and you ignored me.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, that means over the internet.
No, because I
Shane.
specifically said, look, it's not the internet one, because the internet one is this icon.
And I was just like, you're wrong, Shane, you're wrong. But
I'm always right.
in this
so this
one particular circumstance, you may have been
leaning
towards the correct answer.
Nope, always right.
So
ask Flacco Jones.
But then you were suddenly like, oh, I gotta go get this. You were really sold on it after that one play.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
and that was just the handling and so forth?
Yeah, and like I said, it performs better on the PS4 for me than my PC, because my PC's kind of garbage.
All right. Let's see, my gaming week. I have also been playing a crap load of Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition. I'm up to maybe level 34, 35, which I'm sure some people are already further than that, but just in the time I've had to play.
Paragon 782.
You're right. I'm sure some people are already... Actually, somebody on my friends list is already 70, but I think he did a save file from the PlayStation 3 Diablo. So anyway. But I am enjoying Diablo 3. It's not without its flaws. It does have a few drawbacks. Some of the way... The art... Sometimes you get hidden behind things and you can't really see what's like the items or anything. So some of that, like that art stuff is really weird drawback. And I think it's a little weird how you're zoomed in when you're used to the PC's perspective. It's really kind of hard to get used to that zoomed in look. But it works. And I just enjoy being able to plop on the couch and kind of play this mindless, what for me ends up being a beat 'em up, because I'm playing a barbarian. So barbarians are very kind of beat 'em up. It's almost like I'm playing the Ninja Turtles arcade game, like over and over and getting loot and all that stuff. You know what else kind of I really don't like about Diablo 3 on console compared to PC is the interface. Like I really cannot get used to the click wheel and equipping things that way as opposed to the mouse and keyboard. But I think if you don't have the PC version as a frame of reference, that probably won't bug you nearly as bad as it bugged me. And some of the inventory management actually works out a little better because you can hold more things at a time, so you don't have to travel back to town quite as much. So that part's kind of nice. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of Diablo 3, and then I've also been playing some Final Fantasy 14 here and there. But those two games pretty much been eating up my week. Maybe a couple other little things here and there, like I think I opened my 3DS to play one little thing, but that's.
I got a blue summoner jacket in Final Fantasy 14, and now that's all I'm ever going to play in that game.
Are you very much about you're trying to make everything blue in that game? You're trying to make your clothes blue. Now you're trying to make your chocobo blue after the last patch.
Yep. Yeah. And so I will get there at one point or another.
But you tried dyeing your chocobo today, and it turned out purple.
It was lavender purple.
Good job.
And so I killed it and started over.
No, you didn't. You can't do that. You did not euthanize your chocobo.
Deserved to be for not being the right color that I wanted.
Let's see. Bochikawa says, yay, lots of D3 on everyone. I still prefer the PC version, though. I did hear on a recent interview that Blizz is working on doing patches for both consoles and PC at the same time. I really hope that proves true, because that was something that really disappointed me about the last versions for PlayStation.
Blizzard is really trustworthy on what they say they're going to do. So,
well, yeah, and that's why I have valid concern. I kind of don't believe them when they say that.
Exactly, because that was sarcasm.
So they better hold to that, because the 2.1 patch sounds really, really good, and I want to play that on consoles as well. Sial in chat says, how does Diablo 3 work on a 360?
It doesn't, because who owns a 360?
Oh, there's one right there.
What's it doing? How hooked up is it?
It's not hooked up right now. It'll
run
fine.
TV doesn't even have a power cord.
It'll run fine.
What?
The PlayStation 3 version
Ours
was
isn't
fine.
hooked up. You know what is hooked up? A Sega CDX.
Better system.
It'll work fine on the 360. It's just going to be a little, it won't have quite the sharp, rich textures that the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One undoubtedly have with them. You'll have a little bit lower of a resolution, but I think the experience is still a pretty good one. However, one word of warning. I apparently, even though they're going to patch the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions, they may not patch the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 versions. So buyer beware if you do go for those versions. But the game you get outside of the box and $20 cheaper on those consoles should still be a solid experience. But I don't believe you have cross-play either. I don't think a PS3 person can play with a PS4 person, and that probably has to do with the patching. So just beware of that stuff. All right. That is it for our gaming week. So let me quickly do housekeeping. We will not be here next week. There's no podcast next week over Labor Day weekend. I hope everybody here in the States has a great Labor Day holiday. For those of you in other places where you don't celebrate Labor Day, well, I hope you just have a good weekend. But since with the extended weekend, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. People go camping or they go on trips or what have you, and there's a lot of expos going on at that time. PAX Prime, of particular interest to the gaming community, going on up in Seattle. For the broader geek community, there's a huge event in Atlanta called Dragon Con, and that's where I'm actually going to be, along with many hosts from the Voice of Geeks Network are going to be at Dragon Con. Myself, Bobby Blackwolf, Travis Donovan, John from Critical Myth, Brian from British Invaders, and that's all I can think of at the top of my head. I'm pretty sure Pod Culture has some representation as well, even though I know Brad's not there. I think some of his co-hosts are there. And so there's just lots of VOG people are going to be at Dragon Con. So if you're going to be in the Atlanta area over Labor Day weekend, please consider come saying hi to us. Bobby is literally on one panel every day. And I'm supposed to be joining him on some of those. The best time to find us will be Monday at 11:30, which I know is towards the end of the con. So that is going to be the participating panel brought to you by the Voice of Geeks Network. That is going to be Monday at 11:30 a.m. But if you want to try and meet us earlier in the con, I would encourage you to go to the podcasting kickoff, which is going to be Friday, I believe, at 1 p.m. Bobby's going to be on that panel, and there'll be a lot of the podcaster audience there, including myself, and I'm sure Travis will be there, and a lot of the folks will be there. So check that out. And there's lots of stuff I'm trying to figure out. But the only bummer about Dragon Con is then there's so much to do that things start conflicting. Like I just found out, Brian from British Invaders sadly can't be on our VOG panel because he's on a British television panel at the exact same time, which is a bummer. And then I found out there's this like dance party thing I want to go to Saturday night. And you know it's at the exact same time? The Twin Peaks 25th anniversary panel. And it's like, how do I decide what to do? What would you do, Shane? Would you do the Twin Peaks 25th anniversary or would you go to the GLBT event? What would you do?
Okay. I was only kind of interested in Twin Peaks. It got kind of dumb.
Yeah.
So I don't care about that and gay stuff.
Yeah, but you really hate all that like dance music and lights and drinks and all that.
So what would I do? I would not go to any of those.
You would go to the hotel room and sleep.
Yes.
You're fun. All right. Oh, Brad from Pod Culture correcting me. Nobody from Pod Culture is going. Well, this year they're not going.
I always enjoy the Hall Con.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! At Dragon Con, it's insane.
Just when you sit out and hang out with people in the halls on the lines.
There's no standing or sitting room in any of those halls because it's just so packed.
I know you find a place.
I know. People have to kind of go around the corners and things like that. So
I have a funny story about sitting in a line.
All right, quickly.
I sat in a line for something I didn't go to. It was when Utena was playing at Anime Expo, the Utena movie, and I just sat outside the movie cleaning off a $15 Sega Saturn game that I bought, only to determine that the disc was in perfect shape, and I saved myself about $80 because I bought Grandia.
Awesome. Let's see. Other housekeeping, twitter.com/OLR, facebook.com/orangeloungeradio, and we're also on Google+, google.com/+orangeloungeradio. One other thing that's very important before we get to the news tonight, we want to wish our friends, sadly, these gals are not going to Dragon Con, and I don't think they're going to PAX either, so sadly I will not be able to see them, but I will always cherish our E3 time together and that one PAX East I went to. But these gals are great. The Electric Sisterhood, which you can hear Tuesdays here at the Voice of Geeks Network, they are having their 400th episode this week on Tuesday. And that is a huge milestone. Like, very few podcasts get to a number like that. So I want to give props to the sisters over at Electric Sisterhood on reaching their 400th episode, which I'm imagining they probably taped today in advance of their Tuesday premiere. So big congratulations to them. And their show is a lot of fun, and I love hanging out with them in person. So big congrats on 400 episodes for you folks. All right, let's get into some gaming news. Dang it, it's time. So Shane,
do the thing.
Shane, perk up and let's get into some gaming news.
I was looking at pictures of Power Morphicon, so
Did that help you feel better?
yeah, this Green Ranger that is cosplaying is super hot.
All right, fair enough.
So Atari decided that they didn't ruin Alone in the Dark enough that that time they put it out on, I think it was PS3 and Xbox 360. So they're gonna reboot it again, along with this dumb game called Haunted House that you guys talked about earlier. That sounded stupid.
Okay, wait a minute though. It's because it was a 2600 game.
Doesn't matter.
You don't have an appreciation for the
No, I
classics.
don't.
Have you ever played like Flappy Bird or?
I tried. It was so dumb, and then I tried that helicopter one, and that was even worse.
Okay, yeah, I totally left that out of my gaming week, but I played that swing copter.
Yeah, I did, and then I deleted it.
But you know what I'm realizing about Dong Wen is that he does a really good job making like Atari 2600 style cell phone games, because Atari 2600 games, most of them were like a singular concept. That's all it was. Like, all the games were one word too. Boxing, pinball, oink was a game about the three little pigs. And they were all like just one little thing, but you had to do it very well. And the Dong Wen games kind of do that same thing. They do it really well.
The swing copter one, he doesn't do that one very well.
It's so
garbage.
Hard. But so like if you go play an Atari 2600 game like Stampede. Have you ever you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, do you? Okay, like Stampede is a really gross, hard Atari 2600 game as well. At least I think so. E.T. was hard. Anyway, sorry.
E.T. was scary.
But I digress. Haunted House was a classic.
That you play as Eyeball.
And I'm sure I thought they rebooted Haunted House once
They
already.
did, apparently. It was on the Wii and Xbox Live Arcade in 2010.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it.
It looked, they cartooned it up and did.
Cartoon eyeballs?
Yeah. No, they I don't know. They try to make it look like something else.
Anyway, they are going to unveil both Haunted House and that other one I said, Alone in the Dark, at PAX. So if you go to PAX, you can go watch this and then decide that it's terrible, just like I already prejudged it.
It sounds like we might get a lot of gaming news out of PAX, which usually you don't get a lot of news out of PAX. It's like you might get to play things in advance, like of the holiday season, but you don't get a lot of news out of PAX. This is interesting that you've got some companies waiting on announcements for PAX. All right. Well, earlier Shane was teasing Blizzard for not giving through on some of their promises that they make. So he's doubting the Diablo 3 patch. Well, Blizzard isn't the only company that seems to go back on what they say. In fact, a company that has been giving Blizzard a little bit of competition going back on some of the things that they are saying. And that would be the creators of Wildstar.
What happened to Wildstar?
Well,
It was awful.
I didn't play it, so I don't
kind
know.
of.
I have friends that are really into it.
It's okay, but there was so much momentum behind that game, and then it came out, and it was still there, and then just dropped off.
Well, sure enough, there you go. Because at Gamescom, the senior game designer, Megan Starks, talked about how the MMO will be going from monthly updates to more occasional updates, one update every few months. So they are unable to keep up the smaller, more frequent patches mantra that became somewhat of a rallying cry in MMOs. Here's the quote from Megan. Quote, "Originally our idea was to have a really aggressive post-launch schedule, just constantly provide stuff for our players so there's always things for you to do. Now that we've put out 2 of our updates, our schedule is still planned out. We decided to work on the upcoming patch until it's a really good quality state. We do know that we want it to come out in the next few months. Instead of saying that we have this hard deadline that it's going out no matter what, we're going to take the time to make sure that the quality is there." And
they must have got that from like a Blizzard form letter,
like a little handbook.
It sounds like something Blizzard would say.
Now, one MMO that you really, really, really tried very hard to get me back into was Final Fantasy XI. And you didn't really succeed. Maybe
I didn't
a little bit.
really try either, but you did resubscribe and played for a little.
Yeah,
so
actually,
technically, I succeeded.
My account's still active, so I guess
mine's
you got
not.
that. Really?
Yeah.
You asshole. All right. So
I only just canceled it.
So, but the thing about 11 that I was going to say, Final Fantasy 11, is that they're still doing monthly updates, right?
Yeah, and it actually makes the game more fun. It's little content that just makes it more enjoyable each time. It doesn't. I think that's where these developers go wrong. They think they have to have these grandiose, patches that can entertain you for forever, and we'll do them every 3 to 5 months. But if you just do one little patch a month, then that's all you need. It'll get you to the next month when another patch will be out.
Exactly. SSJ100 Matt says, I really liked Wildstar when I tried it out a few times. Hopefully this isn't a sign of bad things to come. Let's hope not. I wonder how their subscriber numbers are holding up. I wonder if the game's still doing well.
I would think that they would have said something by now if it still was doing well, because it's been out for a little bit.
Not to be the negative, cynical gamer, but...
That's me. Don't take mine.
No, there's people on the internet much worse than you. But I would have expected fully by now that Elder Scrolls Online would have changed. I would have thought that game would have already dropped. But it hasn't. So, I mean, kudos to the support that game is getting, apparently. So
could just be them being stubborn.
Yeah, that could be it, too. We'll see. All right, moving on. Dark Sakura.
Well, this is a little bit of sadness, and it was addressed on... Bobby's show earlier, but Sony is going to be shutting down PlayStation Home in Japan. Actually, as far as I'm aware, it's for the Asian region in general. There's nothing to say about North America or European versions yet, but it will be gone as of March 2015 over in Japan. So, boo-hoo.
Where are all the pedophiles going to go now?
Oh, stop it. Why do you say that?
They'll be on 2chan.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
2chan, well, 4chan started because of 2chan in Japan.
Okay. I've never even been to 4chan, so. Good riddance to Sony Home. I'm a Sony fanboy. Like, I think that's safe to say by this point. And I think Home was a neat idea that did not turn out so great when they actually implemented it.
So you admit that it was a neat idea?
Yeah, but neat ideas don't always, give good results to actual things.
That was my whole thing.
It'd be a neat idea to fly to the sun, because that's cool sounding. But if you got there, you would die.
All right, look, I'm half with you. I'm half not, because I definitely see there's a lot of passionate people in the home. Because I remember we did some stuff in the early days of VOG that was a little more involved with home, and we met a lot of very cool people who I assure you were not pedophiles.
Do you have proof?
You're such an asshole. Anyway.
That's a no.
Do you have proof?
I don't need it because I'm the one that's making the claim. You have to defend that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot this was the internet. Oh, what a little current events personified little exchange that was. Anyway, the thing about PlayStation Home, though, is obviously it had a very passionate community, and they were doing a lot of great things kind of that really bent the limitations that Sony really had for home. I'm not sure if the PlayStation 3 was the right console for home. And I sort of it's kind of a too bad that because it probably didn't really get fleshed out on the PlayStation 3 that they're going to give it another go on the PlayStation 4, because I think with the background updating and the quicker turn on and launch times, which is a huge thing, trust me, compared to 3, I think PlayStation 4 actually could have been a lot better for home. So I'm kind of sad to see it go, but I also kind of feel like Sony kind of had this one idea out there, and then it really didn't end up doing anything. I remember I paid $5 or whatever for a Clubhouse for OLR, because I was like, I like to try to get on new technologies and new social media, and I thought, okay, PlayStation Home might be like this thing, so I got a Clubhouse for it. And one of the things you can do in the Clubhouse is you have this TV screen, but you can't do anything with it. And it's wouldn't it be great if I could put a podcast up there, or even a movie with still pictures, or something like they do in some of the theater rooms in Sony Home? It would be great.
Switch between different members playing a game.
Yeah, or something like that. I really feel like I could have done more with that, but I was too limited by Sony Home, and maybe they were just worried that if they made it too free for all, people were just going to show boobs in their Clubhouse and things like that, which... whatever. Maybe that's what they were worried of. But with some moderation, or maybe some more partnerships with, more indie content, I think it could have been a really cool little thing. So I'm kind of sad to see it go. One thing that Home also did pretty well, I think, was some of the E3 conferences, being able to kind of log in there and see the conferences in Home kind of worked out pretty well. But again, it's going in Japan. It's not going in the U.S. probably because it has had more popularity here in the U.S. than it has had in Japan. But I imagine its days are sadly numbered here too. I mean, and this is going to be a matter of the PlayStation 3 phasing out in general because Sony wants people to upgrade to the PlayStation 4, right? So I'm sure that'll be a thing.
I don't know if they want that to happen because they said they don't even know who's buying them.
What do you mean? Who's buying what?
The PS4s. Did you not see that?
Oh,
story?
yeah, I heard something about they don't know who's buying them.
Yeah. And
this is weird. Well, I somehow don't think it's PlayStation Home fans necessarily are buying it, so it's not going to affect
pedophiles like white vans.
Oh, stop it. All right. Moving on. Shane, it's you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so like in MMOs, people buy and sell gold or currency all the time. Apparently that's a thing in FIFA as well with the FIFA Ultimate Team thing in FIFA. I don't know what that is. But anyway, so EA is like, you guys can't do that anymore because that's cheating. So they initiated this like a penalty ban process. So if you are buying coins and promoting the purchase of these coins in FIFA Ultimate Team, you have like a 3-strike rule. Oh, I'm sorry, it's soccer, a 3-card rule. Well, a whistle and 2 cards. So the first offense...
What the hell? A whistle and 2 cards?
That's the image I'm looking at right here. This guy's got a whistle, and then he's got a card, and then he has 2 cards. Anyway, so your first offense, if you are buying coins or promoting the purchase of coins, you will get a warning email and an in-game message. If you do it again, it says FUT. Your FIFA Ultimate Team Club will be reset, and your FIFA points will be returned to you, and that's a yellow card offense. Your third offense, which is red, you get a permanent FIFA online ban. However, if you are the one doing the selling or the farming of the coins to be sold, you only get one chance, and that chance is you go straight to red, it says, and once they find you doing that once, you are permanently banned online for all EA games, not just FIFA.
Good. I'm kind of glad they're doing this, though, because I seem to remember on the Xbox 360, remember when we all got our accounts hacked? Even though we were all pissed off that the PlayStation Network got breached, everybody was actually losing money on the Xbox 360 hacks that we still to this day don't really know how it was done. But what were they? They were doing FIFA stuff. It was all because of FIFA
it was all
trading.
FIFA.
It was all FIFA card trading and all this stuff. So I'm glad that, let's see, what are we at here? Like 8 years later? The EA is...
that was not 8 years ago.
No, it was not 8 years ago.
That was
to be fair, it was probably more like
3 or 4 at the most.
No.
Because I remember when it was happening.
No.
It happened to you.
Because it was the 360 was out in 2006, right?
Yeah,
so
but it wasn't right
more
then.
like 09, probably like 09.
Which would be like
5 years. But anyway, the specific timing of events aside, it's nice that EA is really like putting their foot down on this stuff and discouraging this behavior. And to be fair, they probably have done something similar in previous years, but it's nice to see them step it up and get it out there that this is a no cheating zone, a no cheating and no selling.
they should send pictures of those cards and whistles to the.
They should.
If the people are causing these offenses.
They should actually have an animation where the thing.
It should. If you get the whistle one, you should play a whistle sound as soon as you open your email about it.
Or play the whistle song. Beep 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 beep. Beep, beep,
no one
beep,
else
beep,
found
beep.
that funny.
So, there's a DDR fan out there somewhere that
Nope.
understands the joke. All right.
Alan says it was in 2011 because PSN was down for 6 weeks during Portal when Portal 2 came out. So I was right and you were wrong.
Yeah, but the 360
You
stuff
were
happened
wrong.
before.
No, it was during the same time.
You're awful. All right.
Blame your boyfriend.
No, okay, wait, no, because I can prove this wrong. Because all that happened when I was living at the house, and I moved into the apartment in 2010. So it was when I was in the house. It was 2009. I'm telling you.
No, I have anecdotal evidence here.
I don't even care anymore. All right. Moving on. Apparently, you know who else doesn't care about things? Ubisoft doesn't care about the Wii U. All right, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh and sensationalist.
No.
Here's the deal.
That's true, they don't.
Ubisoft is officially stepping back development on Wii U. I mean, this really isn't surprising information. This has kind of been something we've seen coming for a while. But this is based on some comments that happened at Gamescom, where there was some discussion with the CEO where essentially, they're happy that folks are upgrading to the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 real quick, and that things are great for the PlayStation 3 and the 360. But when it comes to sales on the Wii and Wii U, it doesn't look so good. Nintendo Wii U sales represented only 3% of the total for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2014. To put that into perspective, Xbox 360 was 27%, PlayStation 3 was 25%, PlayStation 4 was 9%, so 3 times what Wii U was. Xbox One was 6%. You want to hear one that's really scary, though? The Vita was 1%.
What they have out on Vita? Just an Assassin's Creed game? I think that's it.
That's
so
it.
The fact that it was even 1% is amazing.
Right? So anyway.
I don't think you can get Just Dance on Vita. So.
Yeah, well, and this is important to say is that Ubisoft is not abandoning Nintendo completely. They're just not going to put out really mature games anymore. Just Dance will be a game that, a series that continues on Wii and Wii U because, there's a more, I guess, family-friendly perception on the Wii. However, Ubisoft will bring Watch Dogs to Wii U. It will be the only mature game we publish on it, was the quote, even though they did Zombie U, so it won't be the only mature game.
Well, and they did Assassin's Creed Zem, isn't
but it'll be the last, I guess, mature game that they do on it. So, there you go. That's I don't know.
I'm surprised they're still even putting Watch Dogs out at this point.
I am too, actually.
They should really just cancel it.
I got to be honest. If Watch Dogs comes out on Wii U, it's not going to sell for the same reason that all these other ports of year-old games didn't sell on Wii U. Like, the third parties, I kind of think, set the Wii U up to fail in that regard. I mean, I realize some of the ports may be, like, really good versions and so forth, but it's just, they're old games. People are not convinced to get a new system and buy these $60, ports of games most people have already played. So I kind of agree that they ought to just cancel Watch Dogs on the Wii U. I mean, I know Nintendo fans are not going to be happy with me saying that, but I'm sorry.
Nintendo fans, are you really waiting for Watch Dogs to come out? Or is it just another game you want on the system just to have another game?
Yeah, or do you really want like Smash Brothers and all the other stuff we're all excited about on Wii U?
Yeah, because when did they say Watch Dogs is coming out?
Next year, probably. Yeah.
No, they said next year now?
Is that, or this? I don't know. When is it? I think before the end of the fiscal year, March 31st.
Okay, yeah, at that point, Smash Brothers will be out, and nobody will be playing anything but Smash Brothers on there anyway, or Bayonetta. So then just cancel it.
So yeah, I'm still rooting for the Wii U. I really hope that it gets a lot of sales continuing through the holidays with Mario Kart and so forth, and some third-party companies will step up. But I think the types of games you're going to see companies putting on it are just, you're going to see less mature titles in general, because Nintendo doesn't really do a lot of those unless Bayonetta 2 does really well, but
it probably won't.
I'm not expecting it to do great, but I'm hoping it'll at least be enough to be satisfactory. Let's hope. All right, moving on. Dark Sakura.
Well, there has been a study that was released, and actually this news comes from PBS, which I thought was really interesting. And I also do have to thank Ranma for the information. It says that video gamers are now the highest percentage is adult female gamers, outnumbering now teenage boys as the biggest gaming demographic. But mostly that has to do just with casual games, that women were more likely to play iOS games or other smartphone games or casual games, but that there are so much more of them than adolescent boys playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, but wouldn't adolescent be under 18? So hopefully that is an M-rated game, so I hope there's not a lot of them playing
but
that.
I mean, it's demographic.
Yeah.
There are more now. adult women playing games, broad statements to each, than boys under 18 playing games.
Right.
So that just goes back to, if it had been 20 years ago and everyone had a Super Nintendo and could just play it on the side, they would all be playing Tetris. They'd all be playing, ActRaiser or SimEarth. So
let me ask a weird question, though, because we know that the rise of women gamers to take over this demographic has to do with mobile gaming in large part. Is mobile and Facebook. That's
what I said.
Mobile and Facebook gaming, right?
Yeah.
But when we talk mobile gaming, we talk about things like Kim Kardashian Hollywood.
It was mentioned in the article.
Yeah.
It's not a terrible game.
I will play it.
Really?
It's got good music and it's not terrible.
Rob. I'm the person who released a picture of the woman with her face photoshopped off that said publicity on it.
I don't get it.
It was an artistic statement, Rob.
Oh. Oh, excuse me. I guess I missed it.
Because her whole thing is, being all shallow and pretty and whatever it is that her family gets famous for. I have no idea.
They're famous for being famous, just like
so
Paris Hilton was.
So I photoshopped off her face.
And there's even in history, there's been people like this, and wasn't Zsa Zsa Gabor kind of in that department originally too? Just more famous for being famous than anything else.
Well, there was her and Ava were both actresses, and did stage.
Well,
I thought.
Paris Hilton was an actress too.
Yeah, but she was. No, I think it's a little bit different. Yeah. The people who are famous for being famous would be like the socialite crowd, which there's always been that. I mean, you had, people in middling aristocracy who were famous for their reputation and that they showed up everywhere, rather than them actually having any sort of main claim to, proper marriages or sleeping with people on the throne or anything like that. I mean, if you want to look at it in a historical sense. People have been oddly obsessed with the people with money, and which is stupid, but still.
All right. Well, let's travel around the world and check out release dates of some games coming out for boys and girls and men and women everywhere. And I just realized that you probably don't have the U.S. release dates, do you?
Sure don't. So nothing's coming out in the U.S. this week, everybody.
If we
I'll make stuff up.
If we can do things out of order a little bit, Dark Soccer, would you start with the UK releases, and I'll get the US ones up here.
You know what? I'm totally not even ready for that.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
Not you guys. I didn't do anything wrong.
I have the dates for the week, because usually I look up the dates, except that the site isn't loading because your internet sucks.
I did notice that
blame the internet.
that those dates weren't there like an hour ago.
I'm sorry,
but
Rob.
I
I have lag.
Funny.
I have lag, latency.
All right, actually, I've got it. I've got US releases. I'll take care of this for Shane.
It.
Okay, so U.S. releases. Here we go. Coming out on the 26th of August. Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1 on the PlayStation Vita. Infamous First Light on the PlayStation 4. That's the big
Infamous
DLC.
is coming out this week.
Metro Redo for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 5, hitting across the various consoles this week.
The final episode.
That's right. And the big release this week, Madden NFL 15 is out this week.
No one cares.
Why are you? Somebody that's a huge selling game.
No, because I have friends that play Madden, and they agree it is just the same game every year with a different number.
But yet people still buy it.
Yeah, because they're dumb.
But
because of football.
Wasn't DDR the same game with different songs?
Yeah.
And that was what made it great, because of different songs. Jeez, Rob, get it right.
No, I'm not even going to defend it.
It doesn't need anyone's defense. It's DDR.
All right. Going to Japan real quick.
I want to go to Japan.
Real quick.
For a long time.
On the PlayStation 4, Transformers: Rise of the Dark Spark comes out in Japan this week. I know, we were really excited about Transformers.
You know what? Real quick pause. Guardians of the Galaxy beat out Transformers. They actually went behind and then came back and beat out Transformers for top grossing.
Have you seen that yet?
Yeah.
Yes, I have, and it was awesome.
Except for the end.
I still
the
have
end was great.
No, oh my god, it's the worst part of the movie.
Back to Japan. The PlayStation 3 is very busy this week on August 28th. Caladurius Blaze, I've totally mispronounced that, I'm sure, comes out on the 28th of August. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen in a special packaging is out this week, as well as Grid Autosport. My favorite game title, Love, Photon Melodies, is out this week in regular and limited edition. Persona 4, the Ultimax Ultra Suplex Hold. What the hell is that? Do you know about that? You're a Persona fan, right, Shane? What is Persona 4, the Ultimax Ultra Suplex
It's
Hold?
the fighting game, the updated version of it. I have it on PS3, the first one.
Gotcha.
It's fun.
Sacred 3 out in Japan this week, as well as Super Robot Tyson OG Saga, Maso Kishin,
Oh my God.
F Coffin of the End. What?
There's another Robot Wars game.
When isn't there a Robot Wars game? And Transformers Rise of the Dark Spark on PlayStation 3 as well. On the Wii U, well,
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. On the Vita, believe it or not, quite a bit on the Vita. There's like a ton of shit on the Vita
Japan
this week.
likes the Vita.
Japan loves the Vita.
The Vita's great.
You
Japanese people got it right.
You can play Chojigen Action Neptune U, regular and limited edition, Kiss Bell, regular and limited edition, 3 different volumes of Love Live School Idol Paradise. There's 3 different volumes, so if you are into your idol games. Mekyu Crossblood Infinity Ultimate, Renai 0 Kilometer V, Rewrite, and Tokaiden Kiwami come out in regular and what they call a treasure box this week. Good Lord, that's a lot of stuff on the PlayStation Vita. Quickly checking the 3DS to see if maybe there's a little competition in the handheld world. Just one game, Medarot 8 in Kabuto and Kawagata versions coming out this week, which looks like it's like basically probably robot Pokemon. It's kind of what it is. So there you go. Do you play Pokemon knockoff games too, Shane, or
No.
you only play the
I'll
main
only
series?
play Pokemon.
I played the Digimon card game for a while on the WonderSwan.
Did you?
That was pretty fun.
Shane, you're not into Digimon either?
Nope.
Digimon is better than anything. At least the anime was.
Dark Soccer, how about the UK? Do we?
Yeah, I
Get that.
guess.
All right.
Now that I've had time to prepare. On the 28th is SteamWorld Dig for Wii U. And then on the 29th is a bunch of Madden crap. And then Metro Redux. And that's it.
All right, just a couple more stories for you guys, and then the classic game of
And
the
it's
week.
an awesome game. And I know how to annoy my husband playing it.
Wait. According to the chat room,
What?
Akuma JP was talking about Yokai Watch. I believe that's like a Pokemon ripoff, kind of. I will play that. It does pique my interest.
That's huge over there too.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's they said it's coming out over here in 2015.
Yeah. it
So
is.
I will play that.
I will play that too.
I'll have Shane
One of us.
decide if I should play it or not.
Shane, decide for him to play it, please.
We'll see. We'll see. I'll probably do it though.
You should probably convince me to finish playing Pokemon X.
Finish playing Pokemon X.
I
It's
beat the first
adorable. There's still so many more gyms to go.
What is Jamie missing by not playing Pokemon X?
Adorable Pokemon.
I don't know. I get tired of that rabbit one keep showing up.
I love stupid Bunnelby. He's adorable.
I'm like, God damn it! I don't want a Bunnelby.
no,
I want
you
a
do.
Houndoom.
No, Bunnelby when he.
I
You
wanna-
should have heard the disgusting things he was saying about getting a shiny Bumblebee or whatever they're called.
Bunnelby.
I want a Houndoom.
I wasn't the one saying it. Somebody
Shane,
else did.
I'll play if you give me a Houndoom.
I have. You want a Houndoom? I'll give you a Houndoom.
Fine, I'll play my game.
Okay, we can do it.
I'll
Right
do it,
now.
fine.
Get a Houndoom.
What the fuck is happening?
This is why Shane and I don't have a podcast. we
I know.
did. We did a pilot once
You
for.
Yeah, right.
A
Yeah,
Mass
whatever happened to
Effect
that show?
podcast.
Whatever happened to that show?
Nothing's happening in Mass Effect, so it doesn't even matter.
When Mass
Yeah.
Effect 4 comes out, we'll do our podcast.
Mass Effect for question mark because we don't know if
Mass Effect, whatever the fuck it is,
All right,
edition.
Shane, put down Pokemon because you got a story to read. He's like reluctantly and I'm getting pouty face as he's slowly putting the DS down. Like I just ruined his entire fucking day.
I am trying to.
It's like you just stabbed his
use-
Bunnelby in the face.
Don't stab my Bunnelby. That's so.
I don't
mean.
want to stab your Bunnelby.
Oh, the gross one.
Yeah.
Well, somebody did stab that Bunnelby
So-
with something else.
So video gaming.
Sure. So Final Fantasy Explorers is this Final Fantasy game that looks a lot like Phantasy Star Online to me. And it's got a release date in Japan now. It's December 18th. Okay, back to Pokemon.
Wait, no. As a Final Fantasy fan, because you play a lot of 14.
I don't. You know what? I
you
can't even really say I'm a Final Fantasy fan. Like, I don't think I am.
Really? Even
Yeah,
with
I
as
don't
much
think-
as you play 11 and 14 and
Yeah,
bully your friends into playing them.
Yeah, okay, but if I like count the number of Final Fantasy games that I have either beaten or cared about versus the amount of games that have come out, I don't think I could consider myself a fan.
But are you excited about this one? Because it's like Monster Hunter.
No, because I say it's like PSO because I don't care about Monster Hunter. But I do care about PSO.
I want to check it out very badly because I love PSO. I'm playing Destiny because it's like PSO.
Yeah, I want to play that because it's like PSO too.
What's exciting is that I go to Atlanta on Wednesday, right? And I get back on like Monday, and we're only going to be like a week away from Destiny at that point. Super excited.
Cial says that I'm a terrible person.
I know. We all know that.
That's probably true. Why am I a terrible person,
That's why we love you,
Cial?
Shane, because you're terrible.
Also, you forgot the Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright game coming out next week, I guess. I forgot about it, too, because honestly, I don't care anymore.
Rob
It
forgot
came out
about it on
so
purpose.
long ago in every other territory, so I'm over it.
Captain Spike, our pal from GameBuoy.org, says, I'll be importing that Final Fantasy Cross Monster Hunter heart. Now, here's the thing, and Captain Spike, I know, disagrees with me quite strongly on this, but I really tried that Monster Hunter demo on
I
Wii
did
U.
too.
It was so awful.
It was garbage.
It was awful.
And, you know, I've tried it on PSP
It was-
now. I've tried it on Wii U.
It was worse than Nino Kuni's demo.
Oh, and that was a bad demo.
That was a bad
for
demo.
a bad game.
No, it wasn't a bad game at all.
It was a really bad
But
game.
here's the thing. I ended up really liking Nino Kuni, right? Even though the demo was awful. And
It had a good combat system.
Yeah.
It's like Final Fantasy 12. Great combat
Nino
system.
Kuni
That
was
game-
kind of Pokemon-y. Like
I said the combat system was good,
Anyway.
but the game was awful.
But so but I guess I just need to try the full Monster Hunter. I don't know, Captain Spike. You're gonna need to bring your copy of Monster Hunter up here and give it a good old try to get me to find the love for this series, I guess.
I finally have to update Pokemons, by the way, because I didn't actually have the patch installed.
Oops.
Jamie, I'm going to give you a Houndour that you evolve into Houndoom.
Okay.
And Captain Spike says it demos awfully, especially the way they put the demos together. The real games are awesome. I wonder if I could find the Wii U game for like $20 now. Like, I'm sure it's got to be in clearance bins everywhere. Maybe. We'll see. Anyhow, moving on to one more story here before we get to the classic game of the week. And this is a follow-up to something we had started with last week. And it's the latest Twitch phenomenon. We had Twitch plays Pokemon, and then we had, all this other crazy stuff. And then we had Fish that were playing Pokemon. And I believe Loki on this very show said last week they ought to be playing fighting games, and the two fish can fight each other and beat each other up. Well, sure enough, and I'm sure they didn't get the idea from this show, but we like to think they did. There are two fish, Aquarius and Robert the Bruce, are playing in a tank, playing Street Fighter II Turbo. And what happens is that the tank, basically in the 9 sections, they have the tank split up into 9 sections. They each correspond to a different button on the controller for whatever the emulator or whatever it is they're running. So as the fish swims around the tank, it controls their movements. So there you go. And you can watch the fish battle each other in Street Fighter II Championship or Street Fighter II Turbo, and it's kind of, you're literally watching people button mash for an entire tournament. People are really into it. There's talk of betting.
I do that when I
One of the
watch
fish
people
got
do that
sponsored.
playing Tekken.
Yeah, but
Especially
are they
when play-
fish? Are they fish playing Tekken?
Probably have the attention span of fish.
Jamie, would you like a male or female Houndour?
I think I would like a
All right.
female because
Okay.
I'm into the bitches.
Okay.
Well, maybe if you guys could put your Pokemon down for like 2 seconds. Remember a day when you couldn't trade anything from one game to another? Because
No,
you
I
had your
don't.
save file on your cartridge, and that was it. We're going to take a step back into gaming's history, and Dark Soccer's going to step into the gaming vault and find a game that she thinks, hey, you kids should be playing this game this week. Dark Soccer, what is the classic game of the week?
The classic game of the week is X-Men Children of the Atom, because I'm going back to my theme of doing CPS2 games by Capcom. So X-Men Children of the Atom is a fighting game that stars the X-Men and the bad guys in the X-Men. So the plot for it is based off the Fatal Attraction storyline, and it's really the X-Men, like the Jim Lee era X-Men, versus Magneto, Juggernaut, Omega Red, Silver Samurai. So yeah, and Rama brings up Rod Caliber. Rod Caliber was awesome, and everyone should try it at least once. But basically, those are some of the other characters in the game. In fact, I will go through the full roster. You have Colossus, Cyclops, Iceman, Psylocke, Storm, and Wolverine. The bad guys were Omega Red, Sentinel, Silver Samurai, Spiral, Juggernaut, and Magneto. So I basically remembered everyone except for Spiral, who I used a lot of times in the game. This came out in December 1994. There is a CD out for it everywhere, and the Saturn version was the best version. The Saturn one allows you to actually play as the Juggernaut in two-player versus mode with a cheat code. And the PlayStation one was kind of crap because it didn't have nearly the memory, because the Saturn one used the 4 meg RAM cartridge. It was pretty much arcade perfect, only missed a few frames. But I mean, yeah, it's just standard fighting game fare. It's, Capcom 90s fighting game. But it was one of the best ones in a franchise that definitely lent itself very well to fighting games. And I know I've already brought up the X-Men game that Konami did, which was a side-scrolling beat-em-up. It was about time we had a fighting game. And of course, after that spawned one of my favorite, which was X-Men vs. Street Fighter, which I think I've brought up before, which means the almighty team of Cammy and Gambit, which my husband hates. So that's it. X-Men Children of the Atom on the CPS2 system.
All right.
Or the Sega Saturn.
I like to play Storm in this and just throw tornadoes over and over and over again. It's a lot of fun.
Typhoon!
Yep.
I played Psylocke a whole lot. I was also really good with Wolverine. Because I got a closet, I can use him.
Got your Pokemon for you, just so you know.
All right, there it is, your classic game of the week. X-Men Children of the Atom, yet another game in Capcom's CPS2 arcade series. I'm still waiting for my Quiz and Dragons, but that's all right. That was a pretty good choice, I suppose.
What's a Quiz and Dragons?
I'm not even going to try to explain.
Is it a Capcom fighting game?
No, it wasn't no, you had to battle wits. No, it wasn't a fighting game.
So it was a school thing.
No, it wasn't really a school thing. It was, forget it. Shane, I think it's too intellectual for you. I think is the problem. All right. Anyhow, we're going to take a break, guys. When we come back, there's plenty more Orange Lounge Radio to come, including Rapid Fire News, the Fugal Question of the Week, your phone calls at 1-877-GAME-OLR, our mailbag, which we have a lot of mail tonight, and more when we come back with Orange Lounge Radio right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Orange Lounge Radio, live on this Sunday evening, August 24th, 2014, with the 565th episode of our show already in progress. Loki not here tonight, but Shane is filling in tonight. And, at the beginning of the show, Shane was, super tired, but then suddenly Jamie was like, let's trade Pokemon, and now Shane's like, yay!
I can be awake for that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's important.
I've been naming all of these Pokemon, but this...
Right.
And this one I'm going to name Farquaad.
You guys are so mature. I love it.
I'm a grown-up.
Anyway, I know we can't play the music for the podcast, folks, but for those of you that are listening on the podcast feed, we did some break music there tonight. We did a song from Parappa the Rappa, the last stage where they're kind of doing their big concert, and Shane and Jamie were both singing along, which was kind of adorable. Which I haven't played.
It's a great song.
I haven't played that game in forever. I really need to go back. I have Jama Lammy as a PS1 classic, but I don't know if I ever bought Parappa the Rappa.
I like Lammy better.
I could let you borrow my copy of Parappa.
Well, I think I have Parappa on disc in one of these mini boxes that's still unpacked because LOL moving.
I actually have the PSP version.
You can't play PS1 games on a PS4. Remember, it doesn't have that backwards compatibility anymore. So, but I guess I could play it on PlayStation 3. I still have that hooked up.
All right, Shane, we can trade.
Oh, my God. All right.
Okay,
also, during the break tonight, we had a song from Katamari Damacy, which is
not the best song that you could have picked. But
she picked it.
I picked it because it's one of my favorites.
It's a good one. There's one that's better.
I like Wanda Wanda. Wah, 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 wah. I like that one.
I like Wanda from DDR.
I like Katamari Mino.
I will always still love Katamari on the Rocks. I mean, that's the one everybody's.
But
no.
But I really like Que Sera Sera just because it makes me think of the old crooners.
I think that's my second or third favorite song on there.
Yeah.
I'm really ready for the return of Katamari Damacy. Like, I know they did the Vita game just a couple years ago, but I'm ready for PlayStation 4, Xbox One Katamari, like a new game. I don't know. I miss those games. They were really fun. I mean, well, some of them got a little old. I guess maybe that's why they've put the series on hibernation for a while. But I think I'm ready for a new game. Maybe it would be a good download title. I don't know. Would you guys be in for a new Katamari game if they decide to put one out?
Maybe. I think the last few were kind of terrible.
You know what I think was really part of the charm about Katamari Damacy, and really the key thing, was that the reason why the game did so damn well is that when it first came out on PlayStation 2, it was a $20 game. Like, Namco was experimenting, I think, with this budget series because there was like a music game that was out at the same time as well that was $20 that people didn't talk about as much. But I remember there was that one too because it had some of the Beatmania 2DX people that were in it randomly. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. Somebody in chat will probably remember though.
It was called not Beatmania.
No, it didn't
song
look anything
was
like it. It was
it?
like a big circle, and I can't remember.
A big circle.
You remember Garrett? He really liked that game, and oh well, forget it. Anyway.
I'm getting there.
Oh my God, you guys are like consumed with your trading.
What
It
is
says
that?
you're not available, Shane.
I just hit it.
Let's see. So, but anyway, the thing was is that those were budget games. They were like $20 games. And then when the sequels came out, it was like $40, $50. It was like, I don't know, something about paying that budget price for such an awesome little game felt really, really awesome. So anyway, Technic Beat says Dark Tetsuya. That sounds right, but I might be wrong. And you might be wrong. I don't know. And yeah, Dark Tetsuya says it was Sampling Masters Mega. Yeah, that's it.
I
Okay,
don't think I
it was
ever played
Technic
that.
Beat. That was it. All right. Okay, going to some of the other comments in our chat room. Fifth Dream says, I'm so fucking wishing for a return of Vib Ribbon. Okay.
No, because that's the one thing Sony did wrong was tease us this
Yeah,
year.
when they pulled that shit at E3 where they like showed
Everybody
Vib
was
Ribbon,
so excited.
I was like, oh my God, they're going to bring back Vib Ribbon. And then they were like, hey, remember Vib Ribbon?
Here's,
No.
Well, here's something
'Cause
else.
it didn't come out in America.
And
it
I'm
didn't come
sitting
out in
there
America.
going, you son of a bitch.
And they used Vib Ribbon, I think, if I remember right, to segue into Dead Island.
Yeah, what the?
Like, that didn't
They
make
use a
any
game
sense.
that didn't come out in the U.S.
So annoying. So annoying. You know what? Sony could still right this wrong. I'm just saying. They could put it on their little streaming service or something when they but then again, you wouldn't be able to use your own music, so it probably wouldn't be as cool. All right.
Oh my God, Oshawat's adorable.
Right?
It looks
That's
like
why
a
I
little
make a
sad
million
panda
of
clown.
them.
And I even think that clowns are disgusting, so this is awesome.
You guys, I need help. If you want this to devolve into Pokemon chat, then, say so in chat. But if you want them to stay on task, then you need
That
to
is the only task that
yell at them in chat. All right. Let's get to some rapid fire news, though. We got to try and keep things moving. So, Shane, what do you have for
I'll just do this really quick then because it's rapid fire, and I don't know how this is supposed to go anyway. So there's a guy that was a fan of Metal Gear that was remaking the entire game like a redo or a reimagining or whatever. And Konami was kind of like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And now they're like, nope.
Psych.
There's that story.
I think it was more than one guy, just so you know. Because there were like
Well,
people...
when they say fan remake, I'm just going to make it singular.
People in the industry were like actually helping with that.
And I think David Hayter, it said, was a part of it, but whatever. Next story. Some dude named Joshua Rubin used to work for Bungie, was working on Destiny. He was part of the creative team there. But now he's jumped over to Telltale to work on the Game of Thrones game. And
You're a
he
Game of-
also...
You're a Game of Thrones fan. Are you looking
Chair
forward to
of
that?
Swords.
I don't know because I'm not a huge fan of Telltale games.
Why
like
not?
at all. I think their
I
games
thought you liked
are...
The Walking Dead.
I can't even really play it because it's scary because it's zombies.
Oh my God.
But no, every time I play their games, they look really buggy, and I'm not a fan of their art styles ever. And he used to work for EA as a lead writer and Capcom. Okay, next story. How many of these do I have? Because I'm just closing windows
Just
as I go. The people that make You Don't Know Jack, they
no.
have...
The
No.
Final Fantasy 14 is your last one.
What? Then why is this out of order?
It's not out of order.
Well, on my thing, it's out of order because that's where I clicked. And this should be a bigger story. Hold on, it's not working. Okay, Final Fantasy. He linked me to the European version. What is your problem? This is probably not even accurate because of that.
I think Shane should be on the show all the time
Because I'm critical of what Rob does.
because it's funny.
This is my last Orange Lounge Radio, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Last week on Horde House, he killed me. So,
Because you yelled, you ran into the room and you threw ice on my head, and Grandpa yelled "Ice Bucket Challenge," which had nothing to do with the charity itself.
First of all, I didn't run in here. I snuck in quietly because you didn't know I was here, and I dropped an ice cube on your head because somebody asked me to do it. I was just being nice. Anyway, Final Fantasy XIV, they're doing their 1-year anniversary celebration right now. And from August 22nd to September 1st, people that have previously played this game and no longer are active or subscribed can hop right back in and play. So there's that.
Hooray, I thought there was something else you wanted to say on Final Fantasy XIV with the anniversary celebration, like the stream or something.
Yeah, they did like a 14-hour stream. I had to sleep for most of it. It looked interesting. They did some Atma farming, and they got all of their Atmas within 14 hours. I was like, you guys know how to do it, so it's not...
Well, what was the technique they used? People need to copy it.
I don't think anybody knows.
No, nobody caught it, huh?
Nope.
All right.
So... that's my story.
All right. Moving on. Team Meat, of course, you know from the creators of Super Meat Boy, and they did the Tales of Isaac was the other game too.
You mean The Binding of Isaac?
Thank you, The Binding of Isaac. Sorry, I remember it was. It looked Zelda-esque, but it played more like a twin stick shooter kind of.
It played more like scary,
and it was it was kind of creepy, but it was cool. Anyway, they have a new game on their way out. It's called A Voyeur for September, but we don't know much more outside of a very artsy kind of trailer that came out. It just had some live action in it and sad music as well. However, more information will be coming out at PAX Prime at the Indie Mega Booth. So yet again, here's something else to look forward to at PAX Prime. Team Meat will be showing A Voyeur for September. Some people have noted that A Voyeur for September is an anagram of Super Meat Boy Forever. Anyway, on Twitter, interesting tweet. Looks like there'll be no Sims 4 reviews until after it's out. EA tells me no one's getting access ahead of release. I'm nervous.
That's probably because of the SimCity Online fiasco.
Do you think that could be it?
I bet it has persistent online connection needed, and
they don't want that to get out
because the reviews for SimCity were fairly positive up until they had all those problems. So this would just be part 2 of that.
Just so you know, that tweet came from Dan Stapleton, who's one of the IGN reviewer guys. So I mean, if they're not getting a copy of it, probably nobody is getting a copy of that. Does that make you nervous, Darkstalker? Because you're a Sims fan. I mean, I don't know anybody more into that series than you, even though you fell out.
I'm on team not give a shit anymore.
Really?
Because I have Sims 2 and I got it for free. And I have all of my dirty things, my weird animations in Sims 2 again.
Well.
Except I haven't touched it in 3 weeks.
Do you have the patch that unblurs the nudity?
Well, everyone has that. That's the first thing that people do. No, because they're all like freaking Barbie dolls. No, I have, there's a site that I go to called Mod the Sims, and they have a sister site called Sexy Sims, which is like you can get like fetish gear and dirty shit, so it's kind of funny.
Ooh, you nasty. All right.
I just think it's funny having them go to work wearing, a strap-on on their chest. It's hilarious.
I'll try that tomorrow and see what kind of response I get.
Your job is hunting down the supernatural. Look, you've got a cock on your chest. It's funny. Oh my God, what the hell? You're giving me an Evangelion.
All right. Anyway, one more story here about the free-to-play game Path of Exile. Path of Exile has a new expansion coming, and this is following the Sacrifice of the Val expansion that the game got in March. Path of Exile is getting Forsaken Masters as the new free expansion coming out for this game. So Path of Exile kind of noted because it's a Diablo alternative of sorts because it's free. It has a lot of similarities with Diablo, although Path of Exile, the classes are a little different, and the skill tree is holy shit different. Like the skill tree is crazy. I could never figure out how to build a decent character in that game. That was kind of tricky.
Does this new expansion bring fun?
I thought it was great. I don't know why you didn't like Path of Exile. I thought it was actually really well done. In fact, it's one of those games I really need to go back and play more of. It was one of those few free-to-play games I felt inclined to give money to because I enjoyed it that much. Especially when they were in the early demo phases of that game. So some of the stuff that's coming with that, they say it's train with the masters, something that you do missions for the masters to get reputations. There's lots of mission variations with that. You're going to have a hideout, which sounds like their own kind of version of player housing in a way. So you'll be able to customize the hideout in there. You'll also have crafting benches.
You know what else has player housing?
Upgradable. What?
Pokemon in the next game coming out.
New items and mods, new support and skill gems, new challenge leagues, including Rampage, Beyond Challenge League, and an updated passive skill tree. So, lots and lots of stuff. And I guess they're revamping some of the existing boss fights in Path of Exile as well. So they're more intense and surprising, they say. So that is all coming on August 20th, and that will be released at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So if you are a fan of Path of Exile, I'm sure you already have that on your calendar. Actually, August 20th already happened, so it just came out. So I need to check this out. I'm a little behind. So very cool. Congrats to them on that release. Dark Sakura.
If you're a little behind, does it make you a bit of an ass? So Dead Rising movie has a director now. It's Zach Lipovsky, who is going to be doing the the Dead Rising movie, as they've said. I don't even know about a Dead Rising movie right now, to be honest, because I'm like, whatever. But anyway, he said that he's in the director's chair and he's doing most of the work for the movie so far, although so far he has only done TV movies to date, and his most notable credit is Leprechaun Origins. So yeah, I'm just going to forget that this exists. And then there is a game I'm excited about. And it's Puyo Puyo Tetris. It's going to be on Xbox One and PS4, which I don't have. So I'm going to have to get one. But it'll be... this is also the first time there is a Puyo Puyo game on a Microsoft system. So yay.
You need to hold something of Dan's ransom until he decides it's a good idea for the household.
Oh, we're probably going to get one anyway.
Hooray.
Are you going to get it before Dragon Age?
I'm playing Dragon Age on PC.
Oh.
Because it's mods. Hello. High-res mods. Why do you think my shepherd looks so gorgeous?
She makes a fair point. I don't say that much about her.
And then this is something... Hey. Girl. So I brought this up before about them discussing the pinball ban in Oakland, California. Mm-hmm. And it's finally been lifted. It is no longer considered a form of... It's no longer considered a form of gambling. So now they're actually going to be having a thing with a Radio Shack, Stern Pinball, and the International Flipper Pinball Association to have a month-long tournament at the 3040 East 9th Street location of Radio Shack in Oakland, which probably is the only way Radio Shack's going to get any business.
I was going to say, wow, a reason to go to Radio Shack.
I know, right? BRB going to Oakland.
We'll have to send our man on the street in Oakland, Extifer, would be the perfect person to cover this. Hey guys, I'm at Radio Shack.
And not a bleached asshole inside. Except maybe his.
Hey you guys, I'm at Radio Shack and I'm going to play with some balls.
That's your Christopher
That's
impression?
my Christopher impression.
I'm going to have him listen to this.
Rob used pester voice. It's super annoying. All right, let's go to the Fugo question of the week, you guys.
It's Radio Control.
All right, every week you guys answer our question over on our Facebook community and our Google Plus community. You slam Facebook and Google Plus together and you get Fugle. So here it is. Thank you, Dark Tetsuya. Dark Tetsuya says, Rob does a pretty good Extifer. And Captain Spike says, why do you make Extifer sound like Alaska Thunderfuck? That was nothing like my Alaska impersonation. My Alaska impersonation is... Never mind, I'm not going to do my Alaska impersonation. All right. Hi. On Facebook, one game
That just is your normal way you say hi to everybody.
It kind of is. All right. One game we've talked about before a lot on the show is Paths of Exile, which gets us thinking about free-to-play games. Do you play any free-to-play games? Be honest, are they really free? Or have you found yourself sinking a bit of money into it? Or do you think free-to-play games will never be as good as the quote-unquote standard purchase-to-play games that are available? Not a lot of answers tonight. I think Facebook is blocking us. Because you know how you have to, pay to get your post noticed on Facebook. So I would encourage you guys, if you want to answer the question, you don't see it coming up in your feed.
You have to pay to lube.
Go to facebook.com/orangeloungeradio and look at it there. All right, anyway. We got some answers about the free-to-play games. Tech2030 says, I used to play Clash of Clans, but the longer you play, the longer the wait times get so long, you're either forced to quit or pay up. I chose the former. William Murderface... our friendliest.
It comes
sounding.
From Metalocalypse.
Oh, does it? Oh, so
yeah. He's one of the. He's the guy with the bushy hair and the thick mustache.
I just thought it was a friendly name. All right. William Murderface says, I've played Rift and I play Smite, Marvel Heroes, and SWTOR. I think that with the exception of SWTOR, I have never felt the need to invest into a free-to-play game in order to enjoy its content. That being said, I will probably spend money in Smite and Marvel Heroes, likely for skins. This is not something I normally pay money for, but I feel that those two games are a lot of fun, and I wish to support the developers' decision to employ well-designed free-to-play models. And Red the Haze says, I play 2 free-to-play games, and they are Destiny of Spirits on Vita and School Idol Festival on mobile. I don't see my... Oh, God, I tried that because I think Rama suggests that one. I don't see myself ever putting money into these since they are pretty generous with even the paid in-game currency. I think certain free-to-play games can be good as standard games as long as they were built to be fair and not give advantages to paying players, unless it's a co-op-only game like Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. Let's see. We just had one more answer come in, so I'll read that too. From Kieran M. Hope I said that right. Sorry if I didn't. Replied and said, I play Marvel Heroes. I put way too much money in it, but it is a lot of fun, and I feel like I get my money's worth. Marvel Heroes was pretty good. Speaking of Diablo-esque kind of games, I did enjoy Marvel Heroes as well. Let's go over to Google Plus and get some of the answers over there, of which we have 2. And starting with ActDeft, who says, I play Team Fortress 2 on a regular basis. Granted, I paid for that game back in 2008 or 2009, but still. And yeah, I've sunk some money into opening some of those crates they give us drops, but I only do it when I have extra money. I have also sunk some money into some mobile free-to-play games, but never again. And lastly, Redtertainment says, right now I'm playing WWE Supercard, a collectible card game where you can spend real money to get cards for use in the game. I'm not currently motivated to spend any money on this game, but if I lose again to Zack Ryder, I just might. So there's some of our answers. I am really surprised that nobody named, League of Legends, which is kind of like the queen bee of all the free-to-play games right now. You go to Twitch, it's always the number one thing being streamed.
I'm planning on starting that up, actually.
It's interesting. I think if you want to get into a MOBA and you've never played one before, I don't know if you've played one before or not, I think Heroes of the Storm is the easiest one to learn, Blizzard's. But you also have to be in their super special secret club to get it, although a lot of people are.
I believe Renee, DNL, told you to refresh Google Plus.
Oh, what, did I miss an answer?
Probably hers if she's telling you to refresh it.
I'm sorry. I literally just pulled it up.
I gave all my League of Legends swag that I got at GamerX to my friend who plays a whole lot more than I do.
Oh, there it is. Okay, DNL replied and said, I play free-to-play and started with Gunbound back in 2004. I think the difference between mobile and PC free-to-plays do make a huge difference as far as how much developers feel they should make on a full-fledged game. Would love to talk more on air as I've been in the industry for 5+ years. Well, I would love to hear. I just love Renee in general, and I hope she calls in later in the show. We would love to hear from her. What was I going to say on free-to-play? So what free-to-play games do you guys play? If any.
I used to play Ragnarok Online a whole bunch.
Was that free?
It was when I was in the beta. Then it went to pay, and then I actually paid for it.
I thought it was a pay game. Okay.
And now, the original is still a pay. RO2 is free to play, which I'll play sometimes. Played Star Trek Online when I was already paying for a subscription, and then I played in the free to play era off and on. And I didn't get into Guild Wars too much. A copy was gifted to me, and I didn't really play it. So Yeah. I mean, I played that Sims game on Facebook for a while, and then I was like, and then I got into my anti-all Facebook games phase. So,
Shane, is there any free-to-play games you enjoy?
On my phone, I spent a lot of money on DJ Maxx.
Oh, yeah.
Lot.
Forgot that was free-to-play.
Yep. And the Record Runner game, I haven't paid any money for it, but I play it a lot.
Oh, yeah, the harmonics one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the other DJ Maxx game, but I didn't put any money into that one either.
So lots of music games.
Yeah,
do you play
mostly
like,
music games.
Do you play like Ubeat and Reflect Beat and all that
Yeah,
stuff
I have
too?
it on there. I have... No, I think I purchased something for Reflect Beat. Ubeat is not very fun on the iPhone. It is fun in the arcade now that I've played it. But no, I pretty much just DJ Maxx, I think, is the only thing I've ever put money into that's free to play.
So here's the thing. I think my gamer ADD, where I just go from one game to another without ever beating or the game or whatever, unless it's an MMO, I think that kind of stops me from really getting immersed in these free-to-play games, especially like one of our Facebook answers said, to the point where you either have to kind of pay money or, you have to wait forever to do things.
I did play the Dragon Age game on Facebook when it was around. That was a free-to-play that had pay options too, which I never did.
Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted.
Whatever, you rudely interrupt all the time.
I was...
Interrupt.
I've been enjoying lately, like I played like Marvel Puzzle Quest, but then I just kind of stopped, and I don't know why. Like I enjoyed the game, but then I was like, ooh, something else to play. Now I started playing Neverwinter, which I touched for like 5 minutes, just a hot minute, like a while ago. But now, like I went back to it because I had some friends that were playing it and were like, you got to go check it out. And now I've been playing that like a lot. So that's kind of like my free-to-play game at the moment. But then I'm like, ooh, Path of Exile got an expansion. I got to go check that out too. That's a free-to-play game as well. So, that's my problem with free-to-play games. I only have time for one.
You know what random like music game that just popped in my head that I would have paid lots of money to do if it was a free-to-play game because it never came out? X Tango. I don't know why that even came into my head.
X Tango was great.
That's such a good game.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Let's see. Game Geeks in chat says, I miss Sim Social on Facebook.
That's what reminded me of the Dragon Age one.
They actually, closed that one, huh? Let's see. Hitstun says, whoa, I didn't know DJ Maxx Technica was on Android. Getting that now. So there you go. All right. Let's move on to some more news. Shane.
Okay, let me pull this up. So the people that make You Don't Know Jack have a new game on Xbox One right now called Fibbage. To me, it looks like Boulder Dash, the game where you make up definitions for things, except kind of in reverse. No, I guess it'd be in reverse because they give you the definition and you come up with what you're trying to define. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired. Anyway.
They give you the meaning, you give them the word?
Yes. It's hosted by Cookie Masterson, who does, the classic You Don't Know Jack games. Apparently you can play up to 8 players, and it is coming out on PS4 this September as well, and PS3 for cross compatibility. It's gonna be $7 or it's $7 on Xbox One. I assume it'll be the same on PS4 and PS3. And I love You Don't Know Jack, so I actually am very excited about this. It could be the next Uno game for Xbox Live, because Uno got a lot of play back in the day.
It sure did.
Except this is funny.
I loved the You Don't Know Jack reboot they did. I hope that isn't the only thing we're ever going to get out of that kind of reboot of that.
That's a free-to-play game I do too.
Oh yeah, because it was on Facebook, right?
It's also on iPhone.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Do they update it with like new puzzles or new episodes, I guess, or whatever?
I don't know if they do anymore.
Oh. All right. Let's see. Let's move on. I got some news regarding Smash Brothers. And why is there a gap between the Wii U version and the 3DS version? Well, this was explained by Masahiro Sakurai in his weekly column this week. And basically, it's because of the debug period in testing for bugs. What they're doing is by delaying the Wii U version, they can shift the debugging periods and get the 3DS version out the gate at first. So, quote, checking is done both domestically and overseas overseas, so for a game like Smash Brothers, several hundred people are employed. So debugging alone becomes a huge project, so much so that one of the biggest reasons for the separate release dates for 3DS and Wii U was so that we could shift the debugging periods. In a previous Smash Brothers, we found a bug during the debugging process where a fighter A hits item B and fighters C and D are simultaneously affected. The game would freeze. Considering not only the different fighters, but item stages, color settings, play rules, and game modes, the number of varying combinations are astronomical. In order to properly debug, every pattern must be tried. But such a task would be impossible no matter how many decades or centuries you take. There are many reasons why a game's release dates will be delayed, but 8 or 9 times out of 10, it's because a bug couldn't be fixed in time. But it's better than releasing a product like that. Well, there's a lot of companies out there that would have released it anyway, just saying. So, but I'm glad they are holding it for quality. Now, something else really exciting, the list of Smash Brothers 3DS composers came out this week, and there's some pretty cool people contributing to the game.
Is Akira Yamaoka one of them?
Is Akira Yamaoka one of them? I actually don't think I saw Akira Yamaoka's name on the list, because I don't know. What would Akira Yamaoka...
garbage.
Well, you don't... What big...
It would be cool if he did, like, the Legend of Zelda theme.
All right, well, I will say this. Yuzo Koshiro... is one of the contributors, which I think is really cool because Yuzo Koshiro did the Wangan Midnight Maximum 2, and I really like his stuff. Yasunori Mitsuda from Chrono Trigger is one of the contributors, which I think is really cool. Ace from Xenoblade Chronicles. Okay. How about Shota Kageyama? Shane?
Who's that?
Pokemon X and Y. Oh.
The music in that game is pretty good. Out of the Pokemon games, I'll give it that.
And Junichi Nakatsuru from Katamari Damacy is going to be on the soundtrack as well. So that's pretty cool. What
about the Beatles?
The Beatles, I don't believe. Again, I'm not sure.
Don't say that while I'm drinking stuff.
I'm not sure how they relate. Besides,
I'm just thinking of famous music people.
No, I don't think that one counts.
Don't forget about the Bach stage where he
I was gonna say Bachnet.
a posthumous composition just for Smash Brothers.
What? I'm so jealous of Renee right now because of the things she's saying in chat. It's not even.
We actually
I have to throw the mic down and leave.
We have an email about that actually, so hold that mic throw. All right, let's move on with some more Dark Sakura.
Well, you can get now the Wii U version of Disney Infinity for free. You can download it via the Nintendo eShop. But you know what you do have to buy? All the figures so that you can play it at all. So it's like when they give away like free coffee machines, but you have to spend a fortune buying all the pods and stuff for it. It's the same thing. Get addicted. Oh, wait, you can't play it. Get the stuff that makes you be able to play it. The end.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you still have to get the little reader thing, too, and that's going to cost money.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if the reader costs $30, then it's really not
It's like
free.
They make you buy the needle first and then give you the heroin.
You know what?
What?
I'm actually going to be buying a Disney Infinity figure.
Are you?
Yep. I'm not even going to get the game.
You're going to get Rocket Raccoon?
Heck yeah.
I just knew it.
Dude, Rocket Raccoon was one of my favorite characters from like the 90s and everything.
Okay, great question from Port Center in our chat room who says, doesn't the Wii U gamepad have the built-in sensor? Why, yes, it does, but this game doesn't use it for some reason. Actually,
it doesn't use
money.
it. Doesn't use it with Skylanders either.
Well, yeah, the Wii U sensor isn't activated for anything yet.
Lies. You're wrong.
What?
Pokemon Rumble U.
Oh, okay. So there is that. Well, I was thinking Amiibo was going to be the first big thing that used it. But
it'll probably be the first big thing that uses it because Pokemon Rumble U, I don't think.
Remember, Nintendo has to build stuff for themselves first, and then maybe if you're worthy enough, the third-party companies can use it, I guess. So, ActDeft brings up, though, the Portal can cost $10 used, and the PS3 one can be used with the Wii U version. Oh, that's a good little tip. Especially if you find a place that's like... overcharging for the Wii U one because they know it's free. So, good little tip there from ActDeft. Shane.
So this renowned French coder, Smealum, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, has announced that he has created a homebrew channel for the Nintendo 3DS, and it's coming out very soon. It will work on the current 3DS firmware, unlike, I guess, the other homebrew channels before it. unless I'm reading this wrong. But whatever, I don't care. But it'll allow you to play games from any region. But you can't run commercial or pirated 3DS ROMs on it. We'll support the North American, European, and Japanese systems. And you'll still need a homebrew device to patch your system, presumably.
Hacker's going to hack, but I love the fact that they're going to get around that region lock.
Yeah, that region lock is so dumb. Like, so dumb.
It almost like I usually don't, really condone a lot of this stuff. I don't want to steal games. I want to support game makers and all that stuff. But
I don't support, yeah.
When it comes to the region locking and that kind of fuckery, I'm like, all bets are off, quite frankly. If, because I want to play this game, even if it's not necessarily in my region. Like, this is a world market now when it comes to games. So, but anyway, that's soapbox aside. Would you consider putting Homebrew Channel on your 3DS, Shane?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of any 3DS games that are not available here that I would import. Because eventually the stuff I want will come over here. Cause
I probably want Mother 3.
And it is noted you can't run commercial or pirated 3DS ROMs.
Yeah,
just to reemphasize that. So,
and Mother 3 was GBA, so you wouldn't be able to do that.
Hitstun in chat says, well, that solves the Puyo Puyo Tetris problem. Because, yeah, folks in chat, when you were talking about Puyo Puyo Tetris earlier, were saying, oh, great, we can finally play this because it's out on all these other systems like 3DS and so forth in Japan, but not here. And so it's region locked. So here, this homebrew would allow Puyo Puyo Tetris for all. Yay.
I could get, I guess I could get Sentai games. That would be awesome.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I would play those.
Dungeon Buster says, I modded my Wii to play Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii early. The extra functionality for the rest of my games was worth it, too. To be honest, Dungeon Buster, that was the I unapologetically did it for the exact same reason. That Xenoblade Chronicles thing was such fuckery. I have no regrets over modding my Wii to do that. So, and then the fact that they released it at only 2 places or whatever was stupid. So, anyway, off my soapbox. Let's move on to something less stupid and more awesome, because I love it when we can make games more accessible for more people. And I actually know we have some people that, at least historically, have listened to OLR. I don't know if we have some folks that are still listening to OLR that are visually impaired, perhaps even legally blind. And yet these folks, at least the ones we've talked to over the years, still have a great love for video games, even though obviously you have to kind of, learn to appreciate them probably in a different way than somebody who has, sight like myself or, Darksaka or whoever, can enjoy them. So what is happening, and this is pretty cool because this was actually a report that came out of the BBC. So this is something that was kind of running from a major news outlet. And this is about a videoless 3D game being developed for blind players. And the concept is to make the industry more accessible to blind and visually impaired people. And what videoless games do is they use a production technique known as binaural. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce this word at all.
I think this thing that they're doing applies to you all of a sudden.
Or shut up. Binaural recording to do an immersive audio-only world. And what they do is they fit a dummy with condenser microphones that mimic the way the ears hear sound. And then scenes in the game are recorded using that method, and what you get out of that is a realistic 3-dimensional experience. Now, there's no graphics, because, again, these games are being created for the visually impaired, but you rely on those senses to navigate through levels.
It's like all the games would be Silent Hill. It'd be so scary.
Not necessarily. They're all... let's see. Blind Legend is a team at Dowino Studios. Blind Legend is the game that this team is making. That's, quote, we wanted to put blind and disabled gamers in the same field of quality as sighted gamers. That was our main aim. That was our main challenge. So that's pretty cool. And I guess they're using some crowdfunding to make it happen. What you do in Blind Legend, it's not Silent Hill. You are a knight who loses their eyesight, and you journey through a forest to free your wife from her violent kidnappers.
A scary forest.
So there you go. The noises of the forest, the birds flying above, the river flowing, you hear these sounds, and that information helps the gamer locate themselves in that environment. This sounds like a really awesome way, too, to kind of be able to maybe experience what somebody who is visually impaired has to go through. Like, did they ever do that to you in elementary school where it's like, you have to wear a blindfold for an entire day to see what it's like, or you have to, or I don't know, wear headphones or something to simulate being deaf or something. Did they ever do that to you in school? Like, we had to do the blindfold thing.
No.
Really?
No.
Well, this would just be a really cool way to, like, everybody has the same experience in a way. So I like that. Bochikawa says, so it's like an audiobook for a game? That sounds so cool. So
As long as it's not a scary game, I think it could be fun. But just
now,
imagine like Silent Hill.
In 2010, Something Else, which is a British game studio, did a game called Papa Sangra, which is an audio-driven thriller. There's no graphics in the game. So, yes, there are thrillers as well if you want to check that out. Good luck. Marissa Congusto in chat says, hi, Marissa, by the way, says sensitivity training. I had to wear gloves for tactile disabilities. Black Wolf, our pal Bobby Black Wolf, says they actually had an art installation here in Atlanta that was pitch black. It was called Dialogue in the Dark. Isn't there like a restaurant like that? Like I've seen that
There's
on Facebook or
deaf
something.
restaurant where
Oh yeah, I heard about
it's
that.
staffed
actually.
It's in Canada and staffed entirely by deaf people.
There's one in
And
San
you have
Francisco.
you have to sign your order.
Oh wow, that's
Because my friend
do it.
was talking about it.
Game Geeks in chat says we had to do vision, hearing, and tactile for dementia training. So that's I love this idea of making really cool experiences that are really accessible to more gaming fans. And trust me, there are blind gaming fans out there. We've heard from them here at OLR. So I'm really happy that they're trying to make more experiences for everybody. And I'm sure lots of other types of disabled folks would appreciate the accessibility. Like, it always blows my mind when a game does not have button mapping. There should be no reason why you can't remap buttons to wherever a person might need them. Always struck me as a little silly. All right, let's move on. Let's go to our mailbag. Every week, you guys send us email at mailbag@orangeloungeradio.com. And Dark Sakura dives into the mailbag and finds some emails that she thinks, hey, I'm going to read these on the show, which I got to say, this is so weird because last week we said send us 4 emails or else we're going to do the Kim Kardashian music during the break, and you failed and you got Kim Kardashian music. However, this week, there was at least 5 emails last I checked, maybe more.
There are, but one of them saying that Dan was too loud, so I'm not going to read it, narc.
You can't take the criticisms, huh?
Well, I have to be a good wife and defend my husband's lack of control of his vocal range.
To be fair, we have to do everything live and on the fly, and I try to sound balance people, but then you guys know I love Loki dearly. He's notorious for this, right? When we do the mic check, he'll be his normal Loki voice. Check 1 2, check 1 2, right? It's just I'm Loki talking.
Nintendo, rah, rah,
And then,
rah,
I'll be
rah,
like,
rah, rah.
I don't understand.
But for the record,
Dan is always in that I don't understand mode.
Dan projects. He's got massive lung capacity and cannot help but project because he's that kind of awesome guy. He cannot be contained by your audio control, Rob. He cannot.
I will say there was a comment at vognetwork.com on last week's show. I believe it was from Flacco Jones. I apologize if I'm misappropriating it, but I don't have it in front of me. Who basically said, I love it when you guys have Shane on and some of the other people you have on, but Dan is the best guest you guys get on that show. So you take the positive with the negative.
Dan is the best guest. Sorry, Shane. Dan's the best.
I'm not even paying attention.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. You know what? That's exactly why Shane's not the best guest.
I'm reading about Power Rangers.
See?
It's very important right now.
For the record,
Pat.
Dan and I have been working on an idea for a podcast together, which I would sit him down and have a chat.
Maybe you want to get 3 microphone condoms to help muffle the sound. Last week's episode was actually turned down 2 decibels in post-production. The entire episode. Just saying. But I think Dan's great too, even when he and I disagree.
Well, this also is a bit more of an open room.
That is true.
And Marissa gets a very big claim as also a great guest.
I love Marissa. When's she coming back?
Now I hope.
All right.
Come on, Marissa. Okay. Hi, OLR crew. By the way, and Narc also did say that the show was good. So, Hi, OLR crew. AZHP here. I've had about 10 Jello shots and a shot of tequila, so I'm pretty drunk, but I just got back from the Japan Expo Convention concert in San Mateo with Akira Yamaoka and Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. And during a break, she said her favorite movie was Showgirls, and if she ever opened a movie theater, the movies would only show Showgirls and Starship Troopers.
I wonder if she just drove up to San Francisco for the Peaches Christ showing, because that was this weekend, the
That'd be great.
The 18th or 19th annual showing of Showgirls. They were here in San Mateo. That's not that far.
Yeah.
Shane, how did you not know about this?
I don't know.
You failed.
You
failed
There's a
too.
bunch of them.
I need to yell at Shane.
You,
Rah!
I was
live
also-
with him. Yell
I
at him
was
when
at
I'm not
work.
here. I have to get up early in the morning. So if
Me
you ever
too.
wondered if the singer from all Silent Hill games is fucking awesome, wonder no more. Here's truly AZHP. P.S. Akira Yamaoka came on stage wearing a luchador mask. He is as crazy as you would expect considering the music he makes, but damn, he can play the guitar. PPS, God bless autocorrect.
So in other words, what he's saying is that if you don't think she's the best singer, then you don't know shit.
Darling, you are a whore.
Where's this expo going? Back east? Where back east? Different places!
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Read your Power Rangers article. All right, next up.
All right. Hey, OLR, just writing in to get your thoughts on something that blew up on Twitter last weekend. The background requires a bit of explanation, so here goes. The game Akiba's Trip is a quirky beat-em-up that came out a few weeks ago. It's set in Akihabara and has a lot of parody of otaku culture, including one feature called Pitter, a 2chan/4chan/Twitter knockoff. The feature runs constantly on the side of the game, not necessary for gameplay, but lets you follow some of the other denizens of Akiba for some insight into this fake Akihabara. One such reoccurring poster is an oblivious hater troll, and that is meant to be someone we're not supposed to like. The thing that blew up on Twitter, the real one, is that this troll likes to harass an apparently transgender poster. I only say apparently because we're given no real means to determine it, and I haven't given any case this character confirming or denying it yet in game, by replying with mean things such as including particular term for transgender people. The use of that term offended some transgender gamers who took to asking Xseed, the publisher, that they remove it from the game. I'm not sure if you want to use the term on your show or not. The word that caused all this was, quote, trap, unquote. Yeah. Xseed's response was that they'll look into the situation, and the person who translated much of the dialogue posted a pretty interesting look into the process and why the term was used, despite it potentially being offensive. Her Tumblr is Hatsu, to use, if you're interested. Naturally, some people jumped to defend the game and argue that others were too thin-skinned, and that's what led up to the blow-up. Might be worth pointing out, thanks to screenshots of the lines in question circulating online, many people on both sides were working without full context to the scenes, nor with knowledge that the other fictional posters in the game do not attack the transgender character, and quite a few of them even tell the hater to knock it off. The base level question is this, I guess. What do you make of this situation? How would you think you would have handled it, even in the lines themselves or after the blow-up, if you were in Xseed's position?
This is like a really weird thing to say, but I honestly feel like I'm in no position to really be able to accurately say like if it is offensive or not, because I'm going to be completely honest. I started to read this email before the show, and as I'm reading through the email and they're talking about the transgender slur, I immediately assumed that was the word that rhymes with Aunt Franny, right? I assumed that was the word that they were talking about. And then when he said the word in the email, which, you know, we repeated for educational purposes. Sorry if anybody was offended by that. Because honest...
Well, I said quotey fingers.
Right. Honest to God, and call me ignorant or privileged or whatever you want, I had no idea that was a slur. No, I would never use... I can't think of a possible reason why I would use that word to ever... I actually did Google research. I was like, how is that? Because I wanted to educate myself, okay? So I was like, how is that an offensive word? And now I see, okay, that's why it's offensive or whatever, which... how do I say this in a politically correct way? And I really apologize if anybody's offended, but I'm saying this for educational purposes. Please understand. That basically, like, somebody... may not be the gender that somebody assumed they were. That is right. Okay. So, but ridiculous, right? So the reason why I tell you that story about me having to like Google this to figure out why it's offensive, This is why there's always that call for diversity in gaming. And I know a lot of people are like, why do women force themselves in the game industry and complain? And why do the social justice warrior, transgender, blah, blah, blah. And look, guys. I get issues with a lot of social justice warrior shit, too. I think there's way too much slacktivism that happens on the internet. I think there's a lot of people that will retweet a lot of things, but then be too lazy to vote when it really counts, and that fucking pisses me off. However, by the same token, I can also recognize that this exact story is why we can use more diversity. Maybe somebody should have played through this who knows this word and knows this slur and some of the negative connotations a little better than I, that could have said, okay, this makes sense because, this is a part of the story, or this is parody a la South Park and it feels that way. Or, you know what? No, this is offensive and you should change this word to a more generic, not offensive terminology. But seeing as honestly, I really appreciate the email because I really wanted to make sure this topic got brought up on the show. But as I, A, haven't played the game, and B, don't have the proper perspective, I'm not sure if I can sit here and tell you it's right or wrong. But I will say, yeah, South Park gets away with a lot of shit. I
would also, though, point out that people should just not jump to initially blaming social justice warriors on this. While they do overstate, or I'd say take things way too, what's the word I'm thinking of? Far too extremes. This was actually people who were transgender who had some problems with the terminology as well, according to the email from what I read.
And I'm seeing a lot of comments in chat that's like, Hitstun's like, wait, that offends people. And ActF says, Sky, this day and age of Tumblr and social justice warriors, anything can be offensive. And Kaijudo says, oh no, they're going to have to edit Star Wars now. And Fifth Dream says, like many offensive words, people who might be offended by the word also use the word, so it's hard to know what's offensive and what isn't sometimes. I think in general, we've had this discussion here to try to educate people, and I think what needs to happen on both sides. What I would like to see the social justice warriors of the world and the people who love to push their buttons, what I think we fucking need on both sides is more patience. You know what really bugs me?
I was going to say Valium, but patience too.
It really bugs me, and it makes me sad, and it's one of the worst traits. Not to get too deep here, but especially with all the bullshit that's been going on in the gaming world this week, I think this is important. I think it's always a sad case of humanity when we always instantly want to assume the worst in people. And the internet brings this out in a horrific way. And yes, there are some pretty awful people out there. Look at all the fuckery going on with the hacks today. But my point is that most people are inherently good people. And we could learn a lot from each other if we would just be patient with each other and listen to each other and stop assuming that somebody is instantly only existing to piss you off.
I disagree.
Okay.
I believe that most people individually can be good people.
Mm-hmm.
You get people into a larger group where you have one voice rising above the other ones, and most people, are followers. If we didn't have most people being followers, we wouldn't have the massive amounts of police brutality that we're seeing today by people making assumptions about other people or being thrown into situations in front of groups or making up lies about a particular victim of a murder just because of his skin color. We wouldn't have whole groups of ideologies going around and beheading people in the Middle East at this point. We wouldn't have people deciding to throw bombs into cities and using their own towns as basically using their own citizens as human shields in retaliation. We wouldn't have any of that if people would start thinking for themselves and act on their innate goodness rather than let that be silenced by those in power.
So in other words, don't be a follower.
Be passionate and act on it.
Yeah. That I can agree with. Yes.
Because when the moment that you let your voice be silenced by somebody else or let yourself be distracted by watching fucking reality TV or
well, but not all reality TV is necessarily bad.
I know, but I'm saying this, that a lot of people would rather just between watching the news and watching, something mindless on TV, they'll watch the mindless thing on TV and just go, oh, well, that's bad. What can I do about it? They can do something about it. They just don't think they can because they don't trust their voice.
But this is a show about video games, and a lot of times those mindless reality shows and video games are an escape from all that other bullshit that goes on in the world. I'm not saying you have to stay ignorant to that bullshit in the world. You should be aware of what's going on, but I think it's okay.
But don't make it your life.
Yeah.
Your life should not be escape. Your life should be living. The escape is to have a moment of a break. It's when you forget to live and forget that other people are trying to live, that you actually play a hand in the disaster that goes on in the world. As they say, it's the biggest evil is when good people do nothing.
The Legend of Zaku in chat says, reject false icons indeed. So, all right. Wow, this got way too deep. I need more. I can't believe I'm going to say this.
There's more.
I need more Pokemon chat or Power Rangers chat to help.
There's more.
No, you don't want the Power Rangers chat. Trust me.
There's
all
more
right.
in the emails. So.
Okay. Yeah.
My other question, I think, that begets this is, where do we draw the line for parody? My mind immediately jumps to South Park, which gets away with some pretty offensive stuff in the name of parody. At this point, South Park has been around long enough that I don't feel like I see many people get offended with the show anymore. I'm not sure if that's just because everyone dismisses it now or if they've gotten good at walking the thin line. Do you all think we should avoid offending anyone in games, or is there a place for parody that some might find offensive? Anyway, thanks for the responses and the podcast. And this comes from Andy R. And in regards to that, I think that people have become desensitized to a lot of it. I mean, if you want to hear some offensive shit, listen to Lisa Lampanelli, but she does it in such a way that, one, you see the humor in it, and number two, you see how ridiculous the stereotypes are. And that's why I like listening to her.
And that's kind of how South Park does it, too. Is like you kind of need a little bit of parody and a sense of humor to keep things in check. I mean, something like South Park is going to make fun of everybody. Everybody. Everything's a target in that show. And that's, but if it's not your cup of tea, I don't watch it. And there's nothing wrong with you if you get offended by South Park. It's just not a show for you. But at the same time, don't judge me if I have a giggle at it.
I've said this before a long time ago on this show, but I said that people should learn to be offended because there are some things that are going to offend you, and they can be said with the most innocence in mind.
Right.
And the thing is that the person, you may have an opportunity to educate somebody if something that they, don't seem to realize might be inherently misogynistic or inherently, but it's not something that you just call them out on in a public forum and rake them over the coals for it. You pull them aside.
So stop assuming the worst in people.
Exactly. It's that, and, and if it... I myself post a lot of social justice stuff on Tumblr. Of course, I also go to protests, and
and you vote,
and I vote, and I volunteer my design time for charities that I believe in. So I'm not just sitting on my ass going, "Oh, post."
Yeah.
But the thing is that I think that when you get into reacting instead of acting, that's why we have these MRAs now in response to the rise of feminism. Because we have now the radfems that are assuming the worst about every man in the world. And I know that the not all men thing was really detracting from the whole issue that was going on. But at the same time, we need to understand that not everybody wears the face of what we see in the news.
Right.
Sorry to get serious again.
No, it's some of this actually kind of scary relates to gaming and things that are going on right now. So, it's a good conversation to have.
Well, look at this. Okay, and I've made no secret of this on the show. I am a Jewish convert. And I was getting crap for the stuff going on in Gaza. And I've never been to Israel, and I wasn't born Jewish. But it's, you've seen what's going on in France. You've seen what's been going on with people blaming an entire group for the actions of one place. And that's, again, we're seeing that across the board. That's why I think that Anita, what's her name, gets so much crap, is because she's made herself a voice to bring different, I would say, ongoing misogynistic views going on in the gaming industry to light, and then she becomes a target because no one wants to admit that maybe she might be right. So,
Trying to get a few more comments here in our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com because it's lighting up here, so I want to make sure we get some more voices. Marissa Congusto says, I have no problem with a comedian saying something offensive, but calling a friend jerk if they do the same. Context matters. Hitstun says, feminists and men's right activists are both poorly named. Just don't be a dick to any gender. And then Fifth Dream follows that up with, dick is sexist.
It's true.
But I think I still get Hitstun's point. Don't be a jerk. Period. All right.
You know what? If everyone just tries to give another person the benefit of a doubt and tries to engage somebody in conversation instead of finger pointing, and I mean intelligent discourse, I think would see things a lot better in the world.
Captain Spike in chat says, I think it's interesting to think on the intersection of art and games as it relates to this discussion. And Mega Man X400, our buddy from Video Game Realness, says, how about them video games? Hey, look, there's a lot of crazy shit going on in gaming, and I like to be able to not just report on all the negativity, but kind of try to dig a little deeper than that. So,
We've been looking at the same thing over the course of history. I'm going to bring up one big event in history.
All right, quickly, though.
Okay.
We really need to move on.
Are you familiar with the Bonfire of the Vanities?
Yes.
Not the movie.
Yes.
It was in during the age of the Renaissance, during when the Medicis were in power. There was a big issue going on in Italy where they were burning works of art because they were considered to be a disease of the rich.
We learned about this in world history because it related to another big event, but yeah.
But we get some of the same things too, where video games are being pointed at as being the cause for violence or for being a cause for promoting misogynistic views, when in reality it's the people who are behind it looking for a scapegoat. And people just need to realize humans can be pretty shitty. We've all got a bit of crap in us. I mean, what's the word I'm thinking of? I think everyone has a bit of evil intent. Sometimes you get spiteful. Sometimes you get angry at somebody, but it's when you let that reaction guide your judgment that you don't listen to the positive voice that's in your head too. So,
all right, let's go to the next email, though.
All right. This is from Robert M. I may have asked whether you guys collect game-related merchandise, but do Jamie and Dan have any interest in the Japanese Sentinel / Takara original PlayStation Optimus Prime and Mega? Yes, I do. The PlayStation Optimus Prime and Mega Drive Megatron. Yes, totally have interest in it, but they seemed a little bit outside of our budget. And then P.S. I had the original Clickwheel iPod version of Bejeweled. Interesting, but not friendly to control. Thank goodness for touchscreens. This is how we talked about Bejeweled before. But, oh my God, I really want the Mega Drive Megatron. I think that would be so awesome to have. But it's been outside the budget, especially since we are looking to purchase a house. So. And so, yeah.
All right.
We've got more email.
I know there's lots of email tonight. I'm sorry we're not getting too in depth with some of these, but
hey, Orange Lounge, it was cool to finally talk to you guys last week. Hope the weekend treated you well. What are your favorite Easter eggs? Don't say the ones you paint and hide in April. A friend and I recently replayed some old school Call of Duty Zombies, and we went through one of the map's Easter eggs. Remembered how cool it was for the developers to throw random hidden story into their multiplayer wave-based game mode. So from any game, what were your favorite secrets that weren't completely meant for everyone to find? Keep gaming. Much love, EA Skeezy.
ooh.
God, there's a bunch. I like doing Siri Easter eggs, to be honest. Asking Siri random things until I get a funny response. But there was great, now I can't remember his name. That did Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama. Thank you, brain. Having the little appearance amongst all the developers ending, basically, for Chrono Trigger. I consider that a huge Easter egg.
I would go back to the original, which was one of the first Easter eggs ever, which, funny enough, was a game I already talked about earlier in the show, Adventure on the Atari 2600, where there was the secret room you could get to that has the programmer's initials in it, because it's more about what that stood for. Because remember back in the day of the development of those early 2600 games, the programmers, of which it was oftentimes one person, sometimes two people, it was like one person that made the majority of the game at the time, didn't get credit for it. And, people, the programmers used to get really miffed at this, and this is how a lot of the third-party things started. And, Activision made a really big deal about crediting some of their designers that made the games. But I like the Easter egg as kind of like an act of defiance, in a way, as getting the person who made the game credit in the game anyway. So I guess that would be my classic. Otherwise, my other standby answer would probably be another classic, which would be, I always thought the Minus World in Super Mario Brothers, the original, was a really cool thing. But that's probably more of a bug than an Easter egg at the end of the day. I really think that's more of a bug than an Easter egg. But I think that's just really cool to find these things, these whole levels that were unintended that probably end up the result of some algorithm gone wrong in the game.
I remember catching one in Final Fantasy VII. Oh, yeah? When Cloud was kind of crazy. And he would go Xenogears before Xenogears were out. Mm-hmm. That one was a big one for me. There were, I had actually a couple of my friends did the localization for rival schools.
Oh, cool.
And so there would be, but they also did some of the localization for, what was it? For Puzzle Fighter. And so they'd throw in jokes that I knew were jokes to them. But then there were say that you had Devilot, for example. Don't you know Cyberbots is Capcom's #1 game? That, reference to Cyberbots. You'd have characters from other Capcom games in the backgrounds of some of the levels, different things like that.
SSG100 Matt has a great one. The dog ending in Silent Hill 2. How could you forget that?
Bark, 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 bark.
All right. That is a classic. That was a classic. Good memory, SJ100.
You like Castlevania, don't you?
All right. More emails?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get back to them because I can't find where I put it. So there's 2 left. Oh, yeah, never mind. I already read that one because I want the Mega Drive Megatron. Hey, guys, just writing in to say I'm very frustrated about this hacker group, whose name I don't even want to say as they seem to be enjoy getting publicity, taking away my online gaming for the night. I've recently been feeling really attached to people in the end-of-line free company in Final Fantasy XIV, as everyone has been so kind in helping me to progress in all the past level 50 areas, or post-level 50 areas.
Hearts.
Now tonight, because of this asshole extremist group, I can't hang out with any of them. PSN is down, Battle.net is down, League of Legends servers are down, and now reports are coming in that Xbox Live has been taken down as well. My question is, what the hell drives people to do this? Why take away entertainment from people looking to find an escape? Frown. Now switching gears a bit here. I remember Rob and Jamie were both a Gamer X2. I do know there have been talks about changing the name of this con to represent something more all-inclusive, as GamerX has never been about singling out just gay gamers and excluding other groups. There's something that has been on my mind, as I am both a gay gamer and a person in another group that's often looked at as being weird. Furries. Personally, I take pride in being one and have made so many friends, have been given so much love and support, and have found someone that I care for on a deeper level in this furry fandom. To put it simply, was there any representation of furries that you guys saw at Gamer X2? Yes, there were.
Oh yeah, because they were there promoting FurCon or the other big event. So yeah, oh yeah.
And we actually had a discussion about actually making the fursuits.
Oh.
And some of the stereotypes. I forgot the guy's name, unfortunately, but we were just talking about what goes into making the fursuits and, about how, yes, there are people who are fetishists, but every group has its fetishist.
Right. You're not hurting anybody. It's all consensual. Okay. Have fun.
Thanks so much for reading this and for keeping my night occupied in a time where other groups of people want to take the fun and entertainment out of our lives. Sincerely, Osfer, a.k.a. Syria Knoxfall.
Well, I'm glad we could help. I want to go back to the first half of the email, though, because we never, what motivates people to do this. It's the power trip, the fact that they have power over other people. But here's the thing. People like this, it only takes one fuck up to bring the whole thing down. And this really reminds me of, what was that, a few years ago, that whole LulzSec did a whole bunch of stuff, right? That was the name of the group. LulzSec did a whole bunch of stuff. And what happened? One of the guys got caught early on into it, but got flipped around to be a mole and brought the whole damn thing down from the inside. And it only takes one. And a lot of times this thing ends up with infighting or any of this stuff, and it's not going to end well, because these guys today, not only have they been posting pictures of like ISIS and all this stuff and glorifying that, which is a terrorist organization, then they called in this fake bomb threat to try and ruin the day of some mucky muck high up at Sony Online Entertainment. That is going to be some serious shit that no amount of crying and I didn't know what I was doing is going to get a person out of. I mean, that was essentially was a terrorist act, what that person did. You might think I'm being dramatic, but I mean, that was what it was. So when these guys get caught, and they will get caught, because they're going to fuck up. If they keep going on their power trip, they're going to make a fuck up. They're going to get caught. And it's going to be serious.
This is a sad thing, though, about how things work in this country. Mm-hmm. They are going to get on the bad side of a large corporation with lots of money and government influence. Mm-hmm. Because the government does not like when the people who pay them are in trouble. End of story. That's when they're going to fuck up.
Well, they've already pissed off, let's see, Sony, Microsoft, American Airlines, Activision. The list is growing pretty rapidly. And
we know that, especially given that they're doing DDoS attacks too, then that's going to go back to the ISPs.
Right.
Who, as we know, bankroll quite a bit for the government. Mm-hmm. So
anyway, I didn't want to focus on this negativity too much, but there's the answer to your question. All right.
I've been a lot in being fed up with a lot of stuff lately, so I'm sorry if that's come through.
All right. That's it for the mailbag, right?
That's it.
All right.
At least that's all I'm going to read.
Good job tonight, guys. Participate at orangeloungeradio.com. Make Jamie work. You got 2 weeks to fill it up, because, again, we won't be here next week. All right. Let's get to the FUs of the week.
Oh, this is bad. Here is justice. Here is punishment. This is fucked up.
Shane, I haven't heard from you. I'll let you start tonight.
FU to Bandai for possibly thinking about skipping Tokuger in America.
What?
Yep, apparently they don't think that the suits look good. They don't think that the Zords look good, so they're thinking about skipping it, which makes me upset. That's really it. FU to being really tired. Really tired.
Dark Sakura.
FU to the dumb shits who pulled out me in front of me while I was driving here. Just some dumb kid who can't drive. And FU to... No, not really any FUs. I'm kind of done with that right now. I'm just sort of done.
D-U-N done. Let's see. My FU of the week goes to... oh my God, last minute planning and procrastination, because I'm really, really bad at both those things. And I'm getting on a plane Wednesday, and I'm so not ready for it. Woo! There you go. There's the FUs of the week. Just a couple more stories for you guys, and then your phone calls at 1-877-GAME-OLR. Username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. Loki.
Is not here.
How about Shane instead? Sorry.
Nope, we'll wait for him to do the story.
I was too lazy, and my show roll tonight still says Loki on it and not Shane, so I just out of habit said Loki. I'm sorry, Shane, who is filling in for Loki tonight. What do you have? You got one? Come on, Shane.
We could call him Shanky.
Shane, it's an excuse to talk about PT. You're not going to give that
up.
No, I'm not going to.
PT.
So somebody put a mashup of the narration from Stanley Parable and some gameplay footage of PT, and it's decent. As a huge fan of both the PT demo game thing and Stanley Parable, I was hoping for a lot more from it. It's only like a minute or two long. So it's good for what it tries to do. I wish it would have incorporated more scary stuff from the PT demo, but whatever. It's still worth watching only once.
I had a really good time watching the kids from Koopa Club playing PT yesterday. You saw that too, right? The whole feed of them playing.
Yeah. They were Jeremy was hilarious.
Yeah, I love watching people play through that for the first time. It's a lot of fun.
I was playing with my friend today from Kansas, and when he got killed by the ghost, he screamed and threw his arms up in the air. It was awesome.
I saw the funniest video of someone who was fine with all the ghost appearances until she appeared in the balcony.
Oh, that's a creepy scene.
I was like, oh my God, she's grinning at me.
Yeah, because she's smiling. That makes it so much worse. And to answer Ranma's question real quick, I said
what did Ranma ask?
They're thinking about skipping Tokuger. They already are skipping Go Busters.
Oh, wow. The thing is, though, this silly little trailer thing has set the bar so high for the Silent Hill game. Like,
yeah,
it
has.
That's the problem, is that heaven help that game if people look at it and go, that PT was better.
Yeah, and there will be people that'll say that regardless.
Of course.
There was one thing, though, that put itself, that I realized, like, after playing the PT, is that you remember where it says hello by the phone?
Mm-hmm.
And then the letters start disappearing.
Yeah,
the same letters appear over where it says in hell.
Yeah. That's what it's supposed to be. So each letter, if you walk all the way over there, when it disappears, that letter will appear.
Yeah, that's a puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't know at first that you could just turn your camera to make those letters go away. We thought you had to look at the letter, walk over there.
But from what I understand, that's part of the one of the puzzles that has to be solved before you can do the baby stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It does. All right, and last tonight, before we get to our Skype line, this is going around everywhere on social media, and that is the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS. And look, I don't want to get into the whole debate over is this a good thing or not. At the end of the day, I think charity in general is a great thing, and if you are looking to do great things for charity, I think one great thing you can do is donate, as in money, or you can even donate time. That could be for maybe even like a political cause you believe in as well, or what have you. But regardless, this ice bucket thing has been going around like crazy, getting people more aware of ALS, and this does include industry people as well, which is why I'm reporting on it. There's a lot of people in the industry that have done the Ice Bucket Challenge. There's a little list here of some people, including Notch, the creator of Minecraft, Cliffy B, who's the creator of Gears of War, Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, Sean Layden, who's the president and CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment in America. And some other people have been called out, such as Reggie Fils-Aimé, who promises to one-up Phil Spencer's video, so that should be interesting. So, again... as long as this organization is raising tons and tons of money, which I hear they are, I think that is a good thing. But don't forget about other charities, too, because I know there's some causes. I know me personally tried to do stuff for the multiple sclerosis organization.
Just don't give the Komen Foundation any of your money because they will waste it and hate other people.
All right.
By the way, I liked the one, there's two of those that I have, actually three that I've been really impressed by. Mm-hmm. One of them is Ayumi Hamasaki squealing like crazy and then calling out Yu Darvish, who is actually super hot. Seriously, Iranian Japanese, hot. Mm-hmm. Anyway, then he's a baseball player. Anyway, then there was, I watched, what was the other one that I thought was really great? Oh, yeah, Vin Diesel, who's challenged people instead of doing the bucket challenge to plant a tree. That was really cool because he was Groot. And then I'm actually growing a eucalyptus tree, by the way.
Nice.
So, and then my other one that I like was the Old Spice guy.
Oh, yeah, from the commercials? I hadn't seen that one.
He challenged Bruce Campbell, everyone named John Johnson, and Fabio. I was like, that one was. I reposted it on my Facebook. It was pretty funny. And yes, Akira Yamaoka did it as well.
Well, sorry.
And Mark Meir.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And Jennifer Hale did.
One. Oh, and the Luciano, the guy who just Caden did it too. Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
I'm surprised you haven't looked that up yet.
I saw Justin Thoreau. That was a nice.
No,
video.
the Benedict Cumberbatch one was hilarious.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Anyway, also of note with this whole thing, which is becoming quite the little pop culture thing that I'm sure they'll look back on. Remember 2014? This was one of those fads people did. This is something that's actually coming to video games, and Destiny is actually getting in on this as well. They actually put out a little YouTube where they did the little ghost guy as a participant in the Ice Bucket Challenge. So I thought that was kind of neat that they kind of rendered that. So pretty cool. Win-win around for charity. And,
I just would wish that people would do this on my lawn. Because my lawn is a wasteland of dead grass and weeds thanks to the drought.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like I'm kind of like, you guys, there's a drought going on and there's people, but I understand too. It's charity, it's awareness, whatever.
There are people in other countries who don't have safe drinking water,
right,
and we're wasting it, dumping on our heads. We
right.
could just give the money. I asked my friend when we're going to have the immolation challenge, because then people would really be willing to give some money.
But regardless, it's awareness, so cool. I think they've definitely succeeded where a lot of charities would give a lot to get that same type of awareness. But anyway, let's move on. Let's go to the phones. It's time to have you guys call in 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio, all one word. If you'd like to call the show, now's a fantastic time to do so. Meanwhile, this is where I usually open it up for last-minute stories, but since Loki's not here, I know Shane's not going to have anything. Or am I
could
wrong?
just talk about Power Rangers.
We could, or how cute our new Pokemons are. What was that Evangelion one you gave me?
What did I give you?
It was big and purple.
Palkia.
Yeah, he looks like
He's
an
from
Ava.
Diamond and Pearl, so he's pretty old. You're not going to be able to use him right away, though, because he's level 100, so he won't obey you. But sometimes he will, but he won't all the time.
I will make him obey me with cookies.
I have some tweets I want to make sure I get to as well, which there's a lot of people tweeting about the show, so I really appreciate that. Thank you guys for the support there. But then we have SSGO 100 Matt saying, after a month of brewing, my home brew beer is done. It's a chocolate maple porter, but it needs a name. Ideas? What would you call a chocolate maple porter, Dark Sakura?
Sticky pole.
Sticky pole. There you go.
Sticky pole.
Sticky pole. Let's see. Dark Tetsuya tweets us saying, on Fish playing Street Fighter, apparently Aquarius got signed on with MLG Group Always Godlike. His avatar features a little headset now. That's adorable. All right, the phone is ringing off the hook. Let's get to the phones and get some calls. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Hi, it's DNL.
Oh my gosh, DNL, how are you? Yay! I'm so excited to hear from you.
Hi, guys.
You know when my voice goes up an entire octave, I mean it.
Hearts.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, so I'm sorry it's been a long time since I last called in, and I know that with you guys, I was actually even a guest once, so many years ago. But I thought I'd go ahead and call in today because you guys had brought up about free-to-play earlier on the call, or on the air. And I've been in the video game industry for as long as Shane, if you guys can believe it. We started off at Konami like years and years ago.
Together pretty much at the same time.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, from there, I kind of just went and just kept on working in the video game industry all the way to the point where my previous company was Perfect World Entertainment, and some of you may know of them. They are a Chinese MMO development company, and then when they came here to the U.S., one of the purchases that they made was actually of Cryptic Studios, which makes Neverwinter Online. And so I worked for them for about almost 4 years, and since then I've kind of gone into mobile free-to-play. So it's kind of really interesting to see the difference between how people perceive free-to-play, which started, like from like South Korean games like Gunbound and so forth, to now this like the backbone of mobile apps and everything, and that whole ecosystem. But I mean, like, I guess it was more of a comment.
No, it's that's neat, and I like to hear from people in your perspective as well, who kind of are there, working with those free to play games. What do you think? People who are really quick to criticize the free to play model, what do you think they might be missing?
Well, I mean, of course, people are going to really kind of criticize it because from the very beginning, a lot of people feel that it's more of a pay to win or pay for power kind of model, and I completely understand where people are coming with that. But I think I think someone else brought it up earlier in one of their comments, is that, when people are really cognizant of making sure that the game is balanced without even the need to purchase anything, that really makes it an immersive experience. And I think that's one of the things that we've been able to kind of see the whole industry kind of catering to. Like, for example, like Star Trek Online used to be a subscription model, and now it's a free-to-play model. And the same thing with like Star Wars Old Republic, and the whole point is that they needed to build a game that was a full-out fledged game where you can be able to purchase and play with other people, and then be able to then turn it into something that, as a convenience, you can be able to purchase these items just in case, because like you were saying earlier, there's just so much time for anything, and really you kind of have to focus on like one thing at a time. So when you do come back and play maybe once every 30 days, you don't want to feel like you're lagged behind by everyone. And that's kind of what I'm hoping that to continue to cater in this industry is that, we want to be able to allow people who don't have enough time to play to be able to still feel like they can, by giving them these, we call them convenience items, so that they don't have to feel like they're lagging behind all of their friends who can be able to grind 12 hours a day kind of thing. So that's when I feel like is probably the biggest criticism.
And I think in a lot of ways, for me, like, what really made me enjoy certain free-to-play games more was that, games are always better with friends.
Absolutely.
And I think especially like an MMO, like I think I mentioned this earlier in the show, when you mentioned that you'd been involved with Neverwinter. When I first played it, I didn't know anybody else into it. So I was kind of like, I'm alone and this is scary and oh, sparkles, something else, squirrel. But then now that I have friends that play it too, I'm like, oh, hell, this is really good for this is pretty deep for a free-to-play game. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do in this.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely. Yeah, and that's the whole thing, right? Is making sure that you can be able to have a robust experience on top of everything else. And I think that's one of the things that is the turning point of the industry altogether. And so you can really see that like come and shine through as like starting as like much as like 3 years ago, really is when it really started to cement like this is what free to play means and this is kind of the future. And so you'll see less and less of those premium apps, what they call it. Basically you have to pay to buy the app before you can even start using it. Those are starting to dissipate more and more as the freemium model is actually being more used. But yeah, okay.
Awesome.
That's all. But I just wanted to say hi.
No, I so appreciate that perspective. That's awesome. Hey, I got one more question for you, though, before you go, because I like to ask, especially from callers we don't hear from all the time. DNL, what is a game that you are really into right now, but no fair naming something you've worked on or are working on?
Of course. Well, one of the things that I've really been playing over is Last of Us. When they came out with the HD version for PS4, I don't have a PS4, unfortunately. Oh no, what kind of gamer am I, right? Anyway, but I do have the PS3, as me. So
one
who started playing it again.
One who has to save their nickels and dimes, like a lot of people.
But yeah, we've been playing that, and I've just been crying and crying my eyes out all over again. So I really love Naughty Dog's game Last of Us, and I'm really looking forward to the movie if it is. And also, if you guys didn't check it out, you guys need to go to YouTube and check out when Naughty Dog did their midnight release of it. Was phenomenal. They even did the ending that was the musical version. So
yes, I did see that, and like they did like a deleted scene and stuff too, huh?
Yes. Oh my god, it was phenomenal, and you have to see it.
I agree.
So,
awesome.
All right.
DNL, you have a
nice talking with you guys.
You have a fantastic night. Thanks so much for listening and participating tonight.
Not a problem. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Bye. One of my best E3 memories involves DNL, but I'll have to save
Roscoe's.
that for another night. I have to save that for another night because
the best.
Our phones are lighting up, and I got to get to some more calls. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Hey, it's Brad from Pod Culture.
Brad from Pod Culture. So happy to hear from you, buddy. I am distraught that you will not be at Dragon Con this year, but I completely understand the reasons behind it. I will just keep my fingers and toes crossed for 2015.
Oh, I certainly hope so. It's going to be a rough thing. That's kind of like the geek family reunion.
It is. Well, a shot of Fireball will be had in your honor, my friend.
Well, that's actually part of the reason why I was calling. You look at the avatar on my Skype handle right now.
I was noticing you have a little shot of Fireball. What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, hey, I can't have a drink with you at Dragon Con, so here you go.
I wasn't prepared. I'll have to. I'm holding up my root beer from Jack in the Box. Close enough.
But you were talking about free-to-play games earlier.
Yeah,
and I've talked about this on our show a lot, especially with TARDIS Interruptus. But Doctor Who Legacy, it's actually a lot like that Marvel game you were talking about earlier, but it's a Bejeweled Match 3 kind of thing, and they're always cranking out content, and you do not have to spend a cent to play it.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. And it's not that I like to give to games, when, especially if I've dropped a lot of time in them, like Path of Exile. But I also realize that, there's other ways that the companies can make money too, like be it maybe through ads in the game. Like Flappy Bird was a free game, wasn't it? And that guy's made a killing off of the ads alone. That's one way to kind of make the money and so forth. So I think it's really cool when you find just that right magic where it's like, I can pay my people that are developing the game and make that tiny little bit of profit, and yet still create a rich experience that rewards the people who put the time into it. It's a tricky balance, but that's awesome when people can find it. Yeah,
they do. And of course, there's time crystals and stuff that you can buy in the store too, and a couple of they have what they call a fan area. And if you make a purchase, that unlocks the fan area, and it's just some extra levels and different outfits for characters and things like that. So it's nothing important to the game really at all. But the neat thing is the developers and people that are working on this game are super fast at communicating back if you get a hold of them about something.
Yeah.
Because they'll do unlock codes with various groups, and I think there was a comic shop over in the UK that had a special code to unlock the TARDIS as a playable character. Mm-hmm. And I just sent them an email or a tweet or something about what about those of us that aren't in the UK able to go over and get this? They're like, don't worry, it's going to drop. But they've the really neat thing is, the season 8 of Doctor Who premiered this weekend, and all season they're going to be introducing new content each week, like levels that are themed on that episode.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. And 3 different skill levels. I mean, they're small, but it's just small stuff that they're releasing, and it's free. It's a free game.
Well, and we were even talking about that a little bit earlier with the premium games, where Shane was talking about in Final Fantasy 11. They do these very small patches, but it's enough to keep it going for another month until the next patch. Like, not everything has to be a major ordeal. I mean, those are nice to have too, but when you have like the really small little things that give you a little extra content, a little perk for your $12.95 or whatever you paid that month for a subscription model game, it makes it so much more worth it.
Yeah, and they do a live stream Adipose TV about every week, and there's usually some codes, giveaway codes there too, to unlock stuff. But yeah, it's I've spent more than a few bucks on it, but it's just because. I spend so much time with this game and I enjoy it, and of course it doesn't hurt that it's Doctor Who either.
No. Well, Brad, I'll be looking forward to hearing more on the new Doctor Who on Pod Culture, possibly TARDIS Interruptus on a future week. Brad, you will be missed at Dragon Con very much, as I apparently the whole crew. I didn't realize none of you guys were going this year. That's unfortunate. Best of luck with the Parsecs, but even if you don't win, you guys are still all winners, and we love having you guys here at the network.
Well, on the off chance that we do win, I hope that you would be kind enough to go up for us.
I absolutely will, and I'll have the fireball ready to go.
There you go. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, Brad.
Bye.
Always good to hear from our buddy Brad there from Pod Culture, Monday nights here at the Voice of Geeks Network, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. I can probably squeeze in one other call, but I think, am I saying goodbye to Jamie is leaving?
Yeah, I got ahead. I have to get up early tomorrow because of good things.
All right, well, good. Dark Sakura, I'm glad to hear good things, even if it does mean getting up early. Quickly, though, final thought for listeners tonight before I take another call here.
Form your own opinion.
All right. Don't be a follower, right?
Don't be a follower.
All right.
Reject false icons.
Fair enough. All right, let's see if I can squeeze in at least one more call here before we wrap up for tonight. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Howdy, my name's Ben. I do a little web series called Port Center, which you've probably never heard of.
I have not, but I saw your name in chat earlier.
Yeah, this is the first time I've listened to your show at all. A friend of mine recommended that I tune in and catch you guys live, so I thought, yeah, why not?
Well,
and you guys are a hoot.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
We're usually a lot funnier when Shane's not here. I'm just kidding.
Burn.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Shane sounds suspiciously like a friend of mine called Jeff. I live in Los Angeles. Don't let the accent fool you. And he sounds almost identical to the point that whenever I hear him, I think, what is Jeff doing on this show? That's weird.
I have my own plane, so I fly back and forth.
It's like
why not?
Scooby-Doo.
He teleports.
He's gonna pull off his mask, and it was Jeff the whole time. Well, who's your friend that told you to listen? Because I want to give them an OLR Gold Star.
There's my friend Marissa. I don't know if she's in the chat right now.
Ah, shit. Marissa's got like an entire collection of Gold Stars. She's got a bucket.
She's got too many.
She's
too
can
many.
She can take the Gold Star challenge and dump.
Marissa's ample bosoms are covered in gold stars.
Marissa's the best ever. She already knew that. There's literally nothing else I can give her. So, well, thanks, Marissa. But thank you for listening and tuning in. How can we help you tonight? What do you want to talk about?
Well, actually, I recently did an episode of my show. I'm not going to plug my thing. That's crass. But I did an episode about the Addams Family video game that was based on the movie that came out in '91. There was a game for the Sega Genesis and the Amiga and the Super Nintendo. It was a really solid kind of Mario-style platform game.
Yes,
and I've been thinking over the last couple of days about how there's this idea that a lot of people who play games have where if it's a licensed game, it's going to be terrible. And I think that's not really... I don't think that's a fair kind of generalization to make about what is... It's not really a subgenre, but it's a kind of a category of game is the licensed game. There's a lot of really solid stuff out there. So I thought maybe I'd ask you guys... If you guys had any recommendations for licensed games or, any games that were licensed that you were expecting to basically be terrible, but it turns out actually they're not bad.
Well, since you brought up the Addams Family, I can't help but go here. If you're a fan of the Addams Family, I will say it produced easily one of the top 3 pinball tables of all time. If you're a pinball fan.
I love the Addams Family
The existence
pinball machine.
of Addams Family
spectacular.
pinball led to Twilight Zone.
Yeah, right.
Directly led to Twilight Zone. It was Lawler.
Yes.
Did it.
And you in naming off the various ports of the Addams Family game, regretfully you missed the one on the NES that I enjoyed, which was Fester's Quest. Now, a lot of people really kind of hammed on that game because it was basically Blaster Master, but without the 2D stuff. It was only kind of the overhead stuff, but they did it.
Yeah.
They made like a Fester game out of it, so it really wasn't bad. Especially now that it's so easy to go back and revisit some of those NES classics. But getting away from the Addams Family a little bit, as much as I freaking love those movies. By the way, those are like the best movies. Some of the best movies that came out in the 90s. I would say I think some of the all-time classics that are based on license have to do with Star Wars. I think just last night I was talking to a friend about the vector-based Star Wars game.
Yeah.
That was
the Atari.
Absolutely. Right? That game was incredible. I know I've brought this up before on the show, and some people kind of controversially... Super Star Wars. Some people don't agree with me. I think it was Jason, wasn't it? Was not a fan of it, but we kind of reached an understanding there. Are you thinking of something, Shane?
Jeff has a suggestion.
Yes, Jeff. What's your suggestion?
So Gremlins 2 on regular Nintendo, so good.
I remember that.
It's such a good
That was
game.
a genuine, just a wonderful little top-down, just adventure game.
Yeah,
it was just a lot of fun
and you
to
threw
play.
tomatoes.
And it
was
had the Lady
hilarious.
Gremlin in it.
I'd actually say just things based off of anime series because I was a big importer. Is I actually super liked the Rurouni Kenshin RPG that came out. I have the Blue Seed RPG, which is also really good, and the Macross. Do you remember Love? And VFX 2 was really good. So the Macross games were really good.
I do want to say, though, I think the reason why a lot of licensed games get a lot of crap is because they're trying to get out in time for the release of said movie or said TV show or what have you. They're rushed. And, if it's not able to sit in the oven long enough to cook properly, it's going to come out a little raw. It's just like that story we had earlier about the Super Smash Brothers where, they're talking about the bugs and having to test every single possible combination. When you rush something, it's going to not have that quality process. The most classic example of all time is the E.T. game on the Atari 2600. Howard Scott Warshaw, who was a magnificent programmer for Atari 2600, created one of the best experiences on the console, the Yar's Revenge. He had to turn that shit out in 6 weeks, and that's what you got. Shit. Because if somebody had bug processed that game and said, you really do fall down these holes one too many times. It could have been fixed, but it couldn't because of the aggressive schedule.
I have another one.
Jeff, do you have another one?
I have like 100 actually.
Okay, yeah, I have a few more too. Go ahead.
Power Rangers the movie on Super Nintendo. Of
course.
Great. Any Capcom Disney game on the NES for the most part.
Absolutely.
All of those were great. The X-Men game on Genesis, I don't remember what it was called, but it was really good. So just, I don't know. I can't actually help with that one.
I would say Jurassic Park on both the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, even though they were very different games, were both really not bad. Indiana Jones had an amazing arcade game that was so good. It was on the same engine as like
Simpsons
720.
arcade game?
Oh, yeah. And
Simpsons arcade game is
the
spectacular.
Ninja Turtles beat 'em up.
The Ninja Turtle
That's a
games were good,
classic. So... Ben, I mean, that's all. What about a newer game? Can you think of a newer game?
Nope,
We keep going to
because they're all
classic.
awful.
I know.
I think kind of a go-to. I mean, in terms of, you mentioned before that sometimes it's because of release dates that these games have to be rushed out.
Mm-hmm.
An example of an awful licensed game where that wasn't the case is actually Deadpool, because Activision told the developers during development, we're not aiming for high review scores. We're looking for about a 6 out of 10. So that's one of the reasons why that game wasn't that good. But in terms of games, licensed games that are really solid, I still kind of go to the gold standard for me for the last generation is Batman Arkham Asylum. It is such an enjoyable experience from start to finish.
Good choice. Very good choice. I would agree with that. All those games. I mean, I'm looking forward to the next one that's coming out. They got pushed back to next year, but that's going to be great too. So, all right, Ben, I have to wrap up and let you go so we can wrap up the show. But Ben, I'm a big supporter of indie broadcasters, indie podcasts. Go ahead. It's not crass. Plug your stuff. Come on.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, it's a web series about change in video games. It's about interesting and unique ports and conversions of video games. You can find it online at portcenter.tv. It's Port Center like Sports Center, but without the S at the front, .tv.
All right. I love it. That's a cute little play on words you got there. Thanks so much for listening, Ben, and participating and calling in on your first night.
See you this week, Ben. This is Jeff.
I'll see you at D&D.
All right.
Maybe
I
not.
knew it. You were a D&D player
Now,
the whole time.
if it's second edition, count me in.
All right. All right. Take care, Ben. Give Marissa a big hug, because you'll probably see her before we do, sadly.
I might be seeing her on Monday. Maybe.
Lucky brat. All
Give
right.
her a squeeze.
All right. Take care, my friend.
See ya.
See ya.
Rob, I just saved your life.
What? How? What'd you do?
I killed a Black Widow.
Oh, are they in the house?
There was one in the bathroom.
That's scary. So you saved Shane's life.
I saved Shane's life.
Oh my
And
God.
And Sanrio.
That's scary. All right, I'm going to make this call really quick, but I do want to fit in one more call before we go. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
It's the resident whore of anime conventions, Ranma.
Rama, you almost didn't get in tonight. We've had a lot of returning and new callers tonight. It's kind of awesome. But we love you too, Rama.
You'd be the whore if they paid you. You're like the slut of anime cons. You pay your cover to get in.
I am an anime con slut.
So what Jamie is saying is, you are a whore, darling.
And how?
If he gets paid, he's the whore.
All right, we're going to make this quick. Rama, what's on your mind? Quick.
Okay, I just gotta say that the ALS Ice Water Challenge, originally, the challenge was happening, but people were picking whatever charity you wanted to go to, and then this. I've also been called out 5 times to do the challenge.
Yeah, you need some sort of achievement unlocked where people can see the trophy on your Facebook page where it's or if somebody chooses not to participate, I think that's okay too. I kind of said, I would choose to help charities in my own ways that I come up with. So, and that's what I do. But I'm not going to sit there and say, you guys that do the ice bucket challenge are stupid. No, you're not stupid. Yeah. It's great.
That's a story for another time. Because honestly, money is coming out. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, last thing I want to get off my chest before I get out of here. I found your Dragon Con solution. This is what you do.
All right.
About a good 15 half hour before the panels, get your drink on, okay? Seriously, get your drink on.
Well, that will be the entire weekend, but yes.
Go down to that dance party, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Go down for about 10-15 minutes. Leave. Go to the Twin Peaks one. Leave. Go back to the dance party. It'll become a sausage fest, and you can just sit there and laugh your ass off.
No, in reality, Rama, they are at the same time, but the Twin Peaks panel is an hour, and the LGBT thing is 5.5 hours. And let's be real, that community tends to run late to everything, so I'm going to just go to the Twin Peaks thing and then go to the party, which will probably just be starting at that time, to be real. So that's my plan.
Solved. There you go.
But I appreciate the advice of a seasoned pro as well.
I am no seasoned pro, good sir.
Ronma, what do you think about Tokuger maybe getting skipped?
The fact I can kind of understand because of the color of the outfits, but this is Saban here. He's going to skip it because you got Dino Charge and Super Dino Charge, aka 52 episodes, which will be edited down to about
40 total.
No, 30, 15 per season. I'm still sitting here waiting for them to finish up with whatever the hell whatever the hell they want to call this crap, so I can sit here and rant and flip my table and call it a day.
Why do you think I only stick to the Japanese ones?
I just like to sit and compare and be like, really? But then I have to realize it's the same thing when it comes to like Ninja Turtles, all these other franchises. Yeah, these producers may wreck it for us, but it ain't for us. It's for the average person is going to sit there and watch it anyway. So no matter how much we bitch, moan, and complain about how it's not like the source material, they do not care about us. They more care about the average user who's going to spend more money on it than what we will. Because 15 minutes in, we're going to be like, fuck this, I'm out.
Hey, at least they changed the pink Zord back to pink for Dino Charge instead of purple, so that's nice of them.
Point taken. So are you picking up the Zoo Ranger box set?
No, I don't. I watched a little bit of that. I didn't really find it that interesting.
I thought Die Ranger was better than Zoo Ranger.
And if you want to hear this conversation continue, tune into Anime Jam Session on Tuesday nights at the Voice of Geeks Network.
I get the hit, Rob.
I really need to go. So
stop
bye,
taking
Ron
over this
John.
show with your Power Rangers chat.
Bye,
All right.
Rob. Bye, Jeff.
Bye, Bye Rama.
Bye,
Take care,
Jamie.
buddy.
Nice meeting
stay
you.
black, man.
I will, as always.
Bye.
All right, bye. All right, that's going to do it for the Skype line. It was on fire tonight. I'm really sorry to those of you that didn't get through. Please consider sending us an email. Participate at orangeloungeradio.com is the place to send us an email. Or you can also send us a tweet, twitter.com/OLR. You could even post on our Facebook page as well. Just send a carrier pigeon for all I care. Just, let us know you care. And that's going to do it for another week here at Orange Lounge Radio. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and participating with the program. If you like what you heard here at Orange Lounge Radio, just tell a friend or 5 about the show. Just like Marissa did, who got our gold star tonight for following, I guess, not really following because it's not a demand. It's more of a request.
It's
for
a demand.
It's granting our request. No, you talking about Power Rangers, that's a demand. All right.
That doesn't even make sense.
Granting our request to tell a few people about Orange Lounge Radio. It helps spread the word because we don't have a magazine or a big publishing arm behind us. We just have word of mouth. Thanks for keeping it positive, too, you guys. It's been a rough week, and I hope you guys got some positivity and some laughs out of tonight's show, and we could bring some more positive things. So even if you don't feel like telling people you listen to OLR, at least try to spread some positivity out there because it can be a really shitty world sometimes, and, just don't be a part of it. So before I close up shop tonight, though, I got to go around and get everybody's final thoughts. Shane, despite all the shit I give you on the show, you're kind of awesome sometimes.
All the time.
And
I'm always right.
And I really appreciate you filling in tonight in a pinch.
Especially since it's way past my bedtime.
Do you have anything you want to plug before you go to bed?
Power Rangers.
All right. And any final thoughts for our listeners tonight?
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers. All right. And my final thought tonight is, oh my gosh, I'm leaving in less than 72 hours. I might be freaking out just a little bit. Anyway, I can't wait to see many of you at Dragon Con. And for those of you guys that are going to other conventions this weekend, or even if you're just staying at home and having a barbecue, I hope you have a fantastic long weekend. And we'll be back in 2 weeks to do it all again with another episode of Orange Lounge Radio. Have a wonderful night, everybody. Good night.
You've been listening to Orange Lounge Radio. Orange Lounge Radio is a production of OLR Studios. To join us for a live show, tune into vognetwork.com Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the staff of Orange Lounge Radio or VOG Network, but they were all still true. See you next week.